Something in the orange tells me you'll never come.
Saturday, April 25th, Memorial Stadium.
I wish I didn't, but I do.
With special guests, Kings of Leon and J.R. Carroll. Tickets are on sale now at ZachBryan.com.
I think I heard you coming.
Don't miss Zach Bryan live.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to power your progress, so you can give everything you've got, all for just 1 cent down. Whether you want to get the most out of our best-in-class equipment or go all in with free fitness training, our trainers are ready to help you get stronger than ever before. Take your workout to the next level at Planet Fitness. Join the club today for 1 cent down, $15 a month. No commitment. Deal extended to April 16th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped and picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Hour one of Old School is sponsored by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yes, it is off and rolling on a Wednesday. Welcome to it. It is indeed Old School. Austin Orman here. Jay Foreman over there. Husker Hall of Famer, NFL vet Jay Foreman, and much more. Grill master extraordinaire, among other things.
What's happening?
I'm just trying to give you the intro of your life.
Yeah, I like that. I like that grill master. I'll be a master of that.
You got it down?
Yeah. No, I don't have it down.
Can you ever have it down?
No, because there's too much stuff out there. People do it different ways. Then you think that, you want to try it and see if you can perfect it.
You always be learning.
Yeah.
Always something new out there.
Always something new out there.
What's not new is Eric being in early at the start of the show. Hello, Eric. Wait, you guys let this part-timer come back.
I miss you too, Eric. That's the thing about Eric. You always know where he's at.
You know where you stand with Eric.
Yeah. He tough love.
If it's even love. It's certainly tough. Whether or not it's love is TBD. And Eric, don't worry. I didn't miss that you weren't in till 4 o'clock, I think, on yesterday's show. So don't think you could slide that one under the radar on us. We monitor these things. We pay attention, right? You're on us. We're on you.
Yeah, it's okay, Eric. Where you at, man? We need some energy from you.
Keep it coming. 402-464-5685. Lots to get to on today's show. Plenty to get to in the Husker verse. Obviously, baseball takes down Creighton. Husker men's basketball. Transfer portal visits still rolling through. Nebraska received a crystal ball for a transfer big man. We'll get to that coming up at 3:30. Before we do that, though, Jay, it's light
outside.
I was going to say, Nebraska men's basketball transfer portal update conveniently located on a White Boy Wednesday. So it all falls into line. Before we do that, though, Jay, I do want to get into some Big Ten football spring headlines. You've had this on the back burner for a while, but we got to talk about it at some point. Wisconsin.
Man.
What a mess. President gone. Chancellor gone. Athletic director leaving for a position at the Big Ten. Pete Thamel put this out. Wisconsin Athletic Director Chris McIntosh will be joining the Big Ten as Deputy Commissioner for Strategy. Per sources, the move gives the Big Ten another practitioner in the conference office. He'd been the AD at Wisconsin since July of 2021. The move was first reported by the Wisconsin State Journal. Obviously interesting because it's a Big Ten school in turmoil. We've seen that before. Maryland and Rutgers have had their issues at times. Penn State has had some turnover. Michigan obviously has its own issues. And some unfortunate news there is their target to be their next president, Kent Siverud from Syracuse, has brain cancer. Ooh. So he will not be accepting the Michigan position, and they will unfortunately have to continue their search. But for Wisconsin, down to president, down to chancellor, down an AD. Oh boy, Luke Fickell, you better focus on those three important letters, CFP, or else it is curtains.
Yeah, man, it's tough. I mean, it's tough for him. I mean, obviously, he maybe had thought that he was going to get, a power, at that time, Power 5 job, Power 4 job a year earlier at Cincinnati. Waited. Seemed like a really good fit, being him, obviously having experience at Ohio State, kind of tough-minded guy. He was a wrestler, played at Ohio State, came in and kind of tried to really rewrite the way Wisconsin football was going to be played. Didn't work. Last year, I think they got back to their roots or trying to. Got an influx of cash, both by the university or get donors to donate more to NIL via obviously the AD at that time that now just left. And then they have the state help as well. So you look like I think it would maybe be on the up and up if he was able to get through this year and obviously, meet whatever metrics would needed to be still the coach. Well, now your partner in crime is gone quickly. Mm-hmm. So now if you're Luke Fickell, there's no way that you can think you're on solid footing, even if you put together a 7-8 win season. No way. Anything below that, you might not make it to the end of the year, depending on the dynamics of your buyout and dynamics of the rest of the schedule. Mm-hmm. Because a new AD, well, first of all three of them, I don't know which one they're going to hire first. They're probably president, right?
I would assume you go president, chancellor, then AD.
Right. So they have a lot of work to do.
That Board of Regents working overtime.
Right. And the football season is not too far away when you're making those type of moves. Mm-hmm. And so for the football coach and the football team, right when you kind of felt like you could, I wouldn't say breathe a little bit, where you at least are able to tread water. All right, we're getting some money in NIL. Yeah, we went out and mended fences with high school coaches. We've signed every one of our top-ranked talent, or needs not signed, but committed, right, in Wisconsin. That was a big deal. And right when you think you're making some progress, the last little bit of thread on that rug is pulled underneath you, out from under your feet. And so for the football coach, I think, look, football players are, and all coaches are like this as well. Especially, obviously I know football players, you're just going to really dig in and just do your job. You don't have any control right now because of the lack of success you had in wins and losses to really dictate anything. The best thing you can do your job to your capabilities and then more. Get the guys ready to play, perform, and then you will get a little bit of that leverage, and then you will be able to dictate your future. Because if he's able to get it to where it's a 7-8 win, say 9 win season, and I guess we could take a look at their schedule. Then you could really dictate, say, okay, maybe we need to, get a couple year extensions to see if we're going to be moving down, the same path, or do you force them to, buy you out, fire you, or whatever you want to call it? You could, resign and, take a little bit of a less in the buyout because you want to be where you're wanted and respected. Mm-hmm. And with a new AD, it's a matter of time before he wants, his new guy. Now, he might be a Luke Fickell fan, and so he might be coming in and, be very patient through a year or two. But, from the coaching side, and his side, definitely is a conversation piece when he's at home and with his agent.
Let's take a look at that schedule. But first, Jay, I think it's informative to go back to last year's schedule, right? Ooh. Schedule that we thought Wisconsin had, some 3-9 potential written all over it. Wisconsin ends up going 4-8, 2-7 in conference play. They beat Miami of Ohio and Middle Tennessee to start the year, got beat by Alabama by 24, Maryland by 17, hung tough with Michigan for a half, but Michigan pulls away to win it by 2 touchdowns. Went on the road to Iowa, got blanked, 37-0. actually played Ohio State better in Camp Randall, lost that one 34-0. Gave Oregon a test to scare the week before Halloween, 21-7. Knocked off number 23 Washington 13-10 there in Camp Randall, coming off the bye week. Then got beat by 24 points on the road at Indiana. Hosted and really controlled from start to finish the game against Illinois, top 25 Illinois, and then ended up losing to Minnesota over there in the Twin Cities. So a 4-8 season, but 2 top 25 wins in the last month and change, setting the scene for this year's schedule. First game, Jay, is Notre Dame on September the 6th. That's a special Sunday kickoff. I believe that's the game being played at Lambeau Field.
Right.
After that, they have Western Illinois and Eastern Michigan. At Penn State.
Toss up.
Versus Michigan State, coming off the Fitzgerald, Nebraska game.
That's a perfect time to play them.
Okay. At UCLA after a bye week.
That should be a dub.
Host USC.
L.
At Iowa.
L.
Host Rutgers.
That's a gotta have a game.
At Maryland.
It's another gotta have a game.
But probably L.
Well,
that's November, Maryland, so probably not. Never mind. At Purdue and host Minnesota.
Yeah, and then you got to have that Purdue game. So there's a path for them to make a bowl game. And for them, Wisconsin and Minnesota, that's a rivalry game. So, that's a toss up too, and it's at home.
Mm-hmm.
And shouldn't whether they're needing that to get bowl eligible, if they're already bowl eligible, bowl eligible. You look for Wisconsin to fare better than they did last year, because you got to think last year. I think maybe after, was it the Illinois game, he might have got that vote of confidence back that he was coming back.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And so a little bit of pressure, a little sigh of relief.
Well, and it was we need to invest more in our program. We've been behind.
We're going to bring him back, and the buyout was way too high.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went to Minnesota and you lost 17-7. And so on the road, 17-7, that's not a blowout by any means. And so, for Luke Fickell, you're trying to right that wrong against Maryland. You want to make sure you hold serve against teams like Purdue. You want to make sure you're able to beat Minnesota now at home, hold serve in there. So if he's able to do that, he'll be definitely in a position to either, I wouldn't say dictate his future at Wisconsin, but he'll be on more solid ground. If not, he'll be,
he'll be a good defensive coordinator somewhere in a year and a half.
Yeah, but he'll get another head coaching job.
If you're Luke Fickell, would you rather go be a Group of 5 head coach or a Power 4 defensive coordinator after Wisconsin?
Power 4 defensive coordinator, probably in the interim. He'll be a head
coach again. I'm just saying his next job.
I mean, if he takes Wisconsin to 7-8 wins, why wouldn't he go get another big time job?
What if he gets Wisconsin to 5?
Oh, then he's definitely a defensive coordinator.
That's
yeah. If he
because I'm not sure I can talk myself into 7 or 8 right now. I know you went through it with the toss-ups.
Can you talk yourself into 6 or 7?
It's always going to be a failure for Wisconsin if they don't make a bowl game. As bad as they were, they can't possibly be that bad again.
Yeah.
They got to find a way to get to 6. But what's the difference between going 5-7 and missing a bowl and 6-6 and making it to, I don't know, the Pinstripe Bowl? It meant more
money.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Chizek.
A little bit.
Chizek.
I think a Pinstripe Bowl appearance for Nebraska off the big drought meant a lot more than it would mean to even this Wisconsin program right now.
Yes, but the perception would be, say they get to 6-6, win 7 games, we won 3 more games than last year. So there's improvement.
Sure.
That's the way he could sell it to himself, but you're really you're solid ground because he's a defensive coordinator by nature. He could take a year off. I'm not sure if he has a personality to do like big time TV, but he can kind of do like,
you can do CBS Sports Network or whatever.
You can do something like that to kind of keep your face out there and then go from there, get your name out there. And then you could, make your choices from there.
Mm-hmm.
But look, he's very comfortable at a place like Cincinnati. You can go to a place like Cincinnati and turn them around in a heartbeat. Now things have changed, but if Wisconsin's able, I'm looking at it right now, 1, 2, 3, 4. If they get rolling, they get back to running the ball and playing defense, you could get 6, 7 wins out of there.
could.
But
I think you have to.
You have to, but
Mm-hmm.
either way, it's not a fun time to be a head coach right now in any sport at Wisconsin.
Mm.
But football coach especially. It's just tough, man. I mean, it's a tough spot to be in. There's so many, people move all the time. And you never know what the reasons were for the AD to leave. Was it too much or not enough financial support? Too many complaints about the academic standards that you need at Wisconsin that won't be lowered. Has it got a little bit of bad luck or whatever? Not enough donations that you maybe thought would come in for the football program in particular, or your job. And if you're trying to set yourself up to really run the show, I mean, you got to think that's what kind of Barry Alvarez did, and he had a job at the Big Ten. So it's kind of like the playbook is there, to move on to something like that.
Speaking of Barry Alvarez, he was on ESPN up in Madison and Milwaukee today. I think they broadcast the same or similar program. Did just a radio hit or whatever. And Barry Alvarez says he didn't see this coming. He didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
Might have taken it a little personal because McIntosh was one of the guys that was on Barry Alvarez's short list.
Oh, yeah.
And so Alvarez, according to this article from WTMJ, says, look, I'm not disappointed. That's his choice. If he doesn't want to be the athletic director, that's great. We'll have a number of great candidates, but we just move forward.
Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say, he hadn't even been there long enough to really.
Not even 5 years.
Yeah, get his feet wet, just kind of get settled in, and now you really know the landscape in college football and the Big Ten and Wisconsin's changed. It seems like 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you're dipping out. It just seems like it's obviously Barry's a little disappointed.
And it's not Chris McIntosh's job to keep Barry Alvarez happy.
But from where Barry Alvarez is coming from, that's his university, no different than Nebraska. You were a guy that you kind of, I guess, groomed or kind of, saw, kind of really saw some potential in. Here's the path to you, where you want to be, or what you told me you want to be at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as you get a chance to go kind of, get a extended lunch break job there in Chicago, you're gone.
Right.
And you're probably taking a pay cut. I'm assuming, right? He had to be making close to $1 million, right?
Assume.
Doubt you're getting that much at the Big Ten. What happened for you to dip out that quick? And how long?
And higher state taxes in Illinois.
And how long have you been thinking about it? And how long have you been behind the scenes trying to make it happen?
Yeah.
Because this isn't the only job that he sought out or that has sought him out.
Mm.
And it's hard to really fathom somebody would search him out when you see, or the perception is just average.
Maybe he's average in that role. Maybe
Right.
It's not best suited for him.
Right. But what are you selling that you can do at the Big Ten office that you couldn't do as an AD?
Well, it's a different role.
Oh, I know.
It's
It's a different role, but
so.
it's the have you changed your personality traits?
Mm.
What attributes do you have, right, to do this job at the Big Ten office? That's going to take leadership. You're going to be in some sort of leadership role, so you're going to have to delegate.
Yeah.
You're going to have to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to evaluate. The same thing you're doing as an AD. Now, AD, you got all the people, you got student athletes and all this other stuff. But what made him so appealing that you would seek him out based on only thing how he was as an AD? Because if Barry Alvarez didn't kind of push you toward, hey, this job is open, you should apply really right now.
Like yesterday, you might have missed the window, but go anyway.
Yes. Somehow your name just came up and I saw the list. There's you and nobody else. You should apply. That didn't happen.
No.
Barry Alvarez sounds a little surprised.
Mm-hmm. Here's the other part of it. Deputy Commissioner for Strategy. Does that sound like a real position? It sounds like, again, I'm sure it is. I'm sure Chris McIntosh is a fine man. Kind of sounds like hey, this isn't going well. We'll create a spot for you from some friend of the Big Ten office.
Yeah. That has been hearing your complaints. That's great that you called your friend, but your friend has friends as well.
Yeah. Deputy Commissioner for Strategy is the Big Ten equivalent of your 17th offensive analyst.
That's all right.
You got to roll. Cubsker says Fickle is in a pickle, and it doesn't look good. Appreciate Denny and Moville chiming in. But then let's get to this. Disc Golf Jake says that Wisconsin domino effect feels familiar. Does it feel to Wisconsin fans like it feels to Nebraska fans? I don't know. We're not up there. But I think there's a lot of cautionary tales, and it's easy for us being in Nebraska to draw some of those similarities. 9 to 10 win program.
Anytime something happens like that, they're like, "Oh,
New Nebraska."
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
No, not apple to apples, but
No.
there is some turnover in leadership. There's some questionable, what turns out to be questionable hires, which is you'd say McIntosh now would have been questionable.
Mm-hmm.
If you knew then what you know now. You don't have a president. You don't have a chancellor. There was rumblings. That was one of the hang-ups with Trev. They didn't have a president in a timely fashion that he wanted. So you see it because you want to be connected to. And then his president prior left for Ohio State, and obviously, it was
about that.
Yeah,
we leave with that.
My name is Bennett, and I ain't in it. But so it's tough, man, because everything is transactional, man, and this is what people don't understand. I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent here about like the transfer portal, the state of college athletics, right? And I'm fresh out of coaching AAU, and I've coached, obviously, or consulted and mentored plenty of football players, but in particular AAU basketball. I played AAU basketball, contrary to a lot of people's knowledge. Was on a very good team, and I was blessed enough to be the 7th, 8th guy, maybe 9th out of all the, on it with a bunch of pro guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember playing a team from Racine, Wisconsin, or going and playing kids from like Chicago or Philly and all that stuff. And some of the questions were like, yo, these 16-year-olds don't look 16. These 14-year-olds don't look like they're 14 years old. And the point is that what the state of college sports is right now is what everybody complained about when I was playing those sports. What everybody was complaining about while I was coaching those sports.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because every team wants to be older.
Mm-hmm.
So they're manipulating the process via the transfer portal, lack of recruiting high school kids to become older. So when you're in that arena as an AD and you can't formulate how to navigate in it, your job becomes extremely hard. As a coach, your job becomes extremely hard because no matter how old they are, the percentage of really good baseball players, basketball players, football players, volleyball players, softball players is still the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever percent. So now you're up in here, and then now in this arena, the coaches that you've hired, right, or the coaching pool is significantly smaller. The ones that'll come in and want to grind it out and build a program. Everybody wants instant success. So if it doesn't happen, Austin's gone. Then I hire Nick. Okay, Nick, you didn't do it. I'm gone. And then guess what? It hadn't worked out a couple times.
Yeah.
Holla at a player when I see you in the street. So that's how you get to where he's at, and that's how you get to where the portal is at right now in the state of college sports. And it's not going to change. It's essentially an older version of reclassing.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Sure.
So when you're able to go hide Austin and Jay Foreman, not hide, but we can go and say we were getting recruited by Duke, right? And Duke doesn't have to do this because they go do it. So let's just say NC State, right? And they're like, oh well, we're a little, we're a little heavy at the guard position, but there's a great JUCO, and
we have a good relationship with the coach at UNC Wilmington, or whatever.
or JUCO, because then we get to go play for a couple of years.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So we go down there for a couple of years. We roll up in there as a 21, 22-year-old freshman, 21-year-old freshman. Right? On the same meal plan. We're 2 years older, and here's this one freshman trying to compete with
scrawny 17-year-old that's going to turn 18 here in a couple weeks. And
so that's just the way that college sports is, and that's why you're going to have guys that'll leave these type of positions and go take what's viewed as a lesser position, maybe more of an office job, be okay with it. We saw Northern Illinois' head coach. Granted, it sucks to be them because you're FCS and people are plucking all your good players away. Right. But you're not the only one. That's what I would say. If I was the AD, this isn't just you.
Right.
So if Toledo's good, they're losing guys. And the only good guys they're going in the pros. You got 2 guys that potentially could get drafted real high. So when you think about it, because they're also the corner that got drafted from Toledo last year,
Quinion Mitchell.
Yeah, Nick Saban wanted. Remember? Yeah. And so you're not the only one. But then he leaves to go to be like the assistant running back coach for the Seattle Seahawks. Now they just won the Super Bowl. I understand it, but your whole coaching career is built onto what? Right, to be a head coach. He has been. That's what he wanted.
He has been,
right?
Yeah,
and you had some magical wins. You went to Notre Dame and welcomed Marcus Freeman to big time football and who you are in Northern Illinois.
The boneyard.
And then you put him in the process to expedite him getting over the threshold to be blessed by Notre Dame and become a full Catholic, right? So I mean, so that's where I think it's you're going to see it there. You've seen it at administrative roles now. You could even kind of say, I think Trev has bigger aspirations. That's what Sipple said. So maybe he's thinking like, okay, I got to go from Nebraska, my lifelong job, and he'd been here at UNO and been in the system, to Texas A&M with no connection to try to, you take them to new heights. And then you think you might go to like a commissioner's job, which was floated out there, or, Big Ten office or something like that. Or heck, this time maybe like Sankey get out of there. He goes, you know what I'm saying? So, the musical chairs is very, very prevalent now in all sports at all levels. It used to just be the players, or it used to just be the coaches. Excuse me. Now it's the players. Now it's the players and coaches, right? Now, when you see the administrator's role, guys are, look, it's a lot of hours, a lot of stress, and there's the old was it Buzz Williams? He said, "Look, I'm gonna get out of here before you're ready to get me out of here." Was he go to every spot like 4 years?
Every 6 years?
Yeah, 4 to 6 years, and then he's gone. Maybe McIntosh is like that.
Maybe so. Disc Golf Jake says maybe not an apples to apples comparison, but definitely the same orchard.
Yeah, and I think Nebraska is a little bit of a scar tissue, because when we were maybe looking about the face going over to the abyss, that was, remember Notre Dame went through it.
Oh yeah.
Was it Davey, Whittingham,
Willingham?
Then what?
Charlie Weiss.
Charlie Weiss. And then they were just striking out. But they never.
Bama had that blip in the early 2000s.
Coach Price,
Mike Price,
didn't even get a day. Didn't even get through a spring ball.
Tennessee had their issues.
Oh, still do.
I say lightly.
Yeah, but it never probably went to where
USC,
where we think we went.
Sure. Florida,
and I think everybody that we're talking,
Oklahoma.
Yeah, everybody we're talking, and then they hit the home run with Stoops, and I think they'll be all right with Venables.
Well, there's been one like recession-proof program in college football. It's Ohio State.
Yeah,
they had the one bad year when they were on probation, and Fickle was the interim.
Yeah, and it was a big deal when they fired John Cooper.
Yeah,
but he put guys in the league and they were winning. He just couldn't beat Michigan. I think everybody that we talked about that had their quote-unquote recession time is different than us. We hit it at its max. They all hit it at a different time. They didn't bottom out. They got there and kind of was able to bounce back.
Well, and part of Nebraska's bottoming out is that it came at a time where we've seen unprecedented changes in college athletics. So it's not like Nebraska can just focus on getting back to the basics, hiring a good coach. So much else is changing that's making that more difficult. So even Wisconsin, having shifted the timeline, let's call it 5 years later. I mean, 15, 20 years later, if you want to say that the Frank Solich and Paul Chryst were the start of all of this. And I can't necessarily say you're wrong, but I mean, think about all the conference changing Nebraska's done that Wisconsin hasn't done. Think about all the kind of petty bickering Nebraska had to do with the Texas schools that Wisconsin hasn't necessarily gotten into yet, in terms of being a member of the Big Ten Conference. But now Wisconsin's having its own struggles, its own issues, but at least it seems like there's progress and momentum toward fixing some of these issues. Whereas when Nebraska's downturn started, this got piled on top of everything.
Yeah, and I think they obviously was Frank, and I think you could go back to leaving the Big 8. Probably it was a little bit buyer's remorse, and we obviously were kind of.
Well, you didn't really leave the Big 8. They just added to it.
They formed the Big 12.
Yeah,
and so we didn't leave the Big 8. We formed the Big 12. Texas comes in, really benefited off of us, and they were also ran program at that point, right? And then you kind of get left hanging. Everybody was supposed to leave, didn't leave. Oklahoma State, and we were supposed to leave together. It was like, hey, we're all going to get curfew. You walk out to the car, drive home, and then you hear like, I stayed the next 2 days.
I forgot my wallet.
And I stayed a couple more days. And then actually the party was great while you're sitting at home doing chores. I think when Nebraska changed their offense and identity and went to kind of the West Coast thing, there was more teams on TV. The parity started. That caused parity. Then you start losing.
Exposure parity.
Yeah, exposure. Right. So guys wouldn't come here and wait because you're not winning, right?
And everyone's on TV.
Everybody's on TV. And we're not dominating like we were. And it's a total change of 360 from what we were before. And everybody kind of was really, plucking holes in what we were trying to do. Then Boca had us back on the uptick, and then we got into the Big Ten, and then Urban Meyer came in and then really amped it up.
Well, changed the entire paradigm of college football.
Right, but he really amped up the Big Ten, though.
Oh, yeah.
And then Harbaugh came, and then it was just – and we were kind of fighting. We were fighting against it, and then we were just now trying to recover from right now.
Well, the Big Ten is where it is because Urban Meyer brought that SEC mindset to the Big Ten. The Big Ten, had to learn how to play the SEC's game.
Right.
Figured it out, and now is on par, if not, a step ahead.
If Urban Meyer doesn't go to Ohio State, this is a different conversation right now.
We're not having this conversation.
Yeah, we're not even having it. And I'm not even sure if we're having it if Michigan kind of held form to what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it caused a lot of people to really up their game up, and Ohio State was able to benefit the most, and same with Michigan, Penn State as well.
Yeah.
So it really changed the dynamic for it, and Wisconsin's probably on the outside looking in right now because they got a lot of things to handle before they can handle what's on the field or on the court.
We are ever so slightly overdue for a break. We're going to take it here. There's more to get to from a Big Ten spring football, including a couple of your questions from our Starter Human Jewelers text line. I do want to play some cuts from Nebraska's old quarterback. Dylan Raiola addressed the media after spring practice number 9 up in Eugene. We got it all. He's on tape. He's on video. He's on camera. We got quotes from Dylan Raiola after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Get as loud as you can for Monster Jam!
The one and only Monster Jam. Packed with stunts, smiles, and jaw-dropping skills. See the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks, like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. Only at Monster Jam. Coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena May 2nd and 3rd. Brought to you by BKT Tires. Visit monsterjam.com today.
Do you ever feel okay in your current job and profession, but wonder if there's a better company that can offer more? Vision Mechanical is now hiring for journeyman plumbers and HVAC service technicians. Vision Mechanical offers top-of-the-industry wages, 100% paid health, disability, and life insurance, 401k with employee match, and paid holidays and vacation. Vision Mechanical believes in craftsmanship, teamwork, and building a better future one project at a time. Apply today or learn more at visionmechanical.net or email Ron at vmech.net.
At Schwezo Construction, safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Build with us. Work safe, go home proud. We're hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back, on and off the job site. If you're ready to be part of a company where your safety and success come first, visit Schwezo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com and apply today. Schwezo Construction, 40 years strong and still building the future.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra-premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Hi, Charlie Stone again, and Andy Goodyear with Honda of Lincoln will be joining me to talk about the Honda Spring event. Andy, I know this is a big event for you. Please tell us all about it.
I want to start out by thanking the Lincoln car buyers for an incredible year in 2025. It's just been announced that Honda of Lincoln is Nebraska's only Honda dealer to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award for 2025.
Wow, that's great, Andy. How many times now have you earned that President's Award?
It's a total of 20 times now, Charlie. The Honda Spring event is truly a big event for us. We have incredible savings on every remaining 2025 and every new 2026. Special low rates, long-term financing, and special lease rates.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
When it comes to keeping your equipment running, you've got options at Landmark Implement. Whether you need premium John Deere parts or a more economical solution, A&I parts from Landmark deliver the dependable performance you can count on with cost savings up to 40%. From filters and bearings to belts and everyday repairs, A&I parts are built to work as hard as you do while helping stretch your budget further. Stop by your local Landmark Implement parts counter today or shop online anytime at shop.deere.com and experience the Landmark difference.
This is Jordy Ball for Anderson Ford. For years, Anderson has relied on an exceptional customer experience. But just this once, they're going to rely on a really great pitch.
Right now, lease a 2026 Ford F-150 for $197 per month for 36 months.
Experience better at Anderson Ford.
Stock number 1008753 at $99 per month, lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, 10,252 at signing, no security deposit required, tax, title, and license fees extra, residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 4/30/26.
Zach Bryan with Heaven on Tour.
Poison myself again. Something in the orange tells me you'll never call
Saturday,
me
April
home.
25th, Memorial Stadium.
Wish I didn't, but I do.
With special guests, Kings of Leon and J.R. Carroll. Tickets are on sale now at zachbryan.com.
I think I've heard you coming.
Don't miss Zach Bryan live.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome back in. Austin Norman and Jay Foreman with you, talking some Big Ten football spring headlines here. Hour 1 of the show brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. As always, you can check them out online, heartlandofnebraskawindows.com, or give them a call, 402-430-3852. We'll get to some Dylan Raiola audio here in just a moment. But, Jay, from our starter Heyman Jewelers text line, Gus Mohawk says, out of the old Legends division, which team do you think will have the best record or the best season this year in football? For reference, the old Legends division, Iowa, Michigan, Michigan State, Minnesota, Nebraska, Northwestern.
Nebraska, or is Illinois in there?
No. Iowa, Michigan, Michigan State, Minnesota, Nebraska.
Oh, Nebraska and Michigan.
I think Michigan's pretty clear number 1 for me.
Yeah.
Then it's between Iowa and Nebraska for number 2.
Yeah. Schedule and eye tests are going to be huge for Nebraska and Iowa in 2 different categories.
Yeah.
Iowa's all about what the offense looks like. Nebraska's just you got to get to the point where, I guess, the first road test against Michigan State, you want to look competitive, you want to look physical. As long as that it holds true, then obviously that'll dictate the outcome of your season.
Actually going to probably change my answer and throw Minnesota in there as well. Got to give them enough benefit of the doubt. I also don't want to end up on sports talk radio up there in Minnesota's bulletin board material with PJ Flex.
I think Minnesota's always going to be solid. Now, whenever they have a year that, like when they had the under the radar year two years ago, they won 9 games, and really PJ Fleck was talking at the Big Ten media days. They were said something like 12 points away from possibly being in the college football playoffs. Well, then they played this year, and obviously they beat Nebraska, but they didn't look like they should have, because this is a year that after coming off 9 wins, you thought, okay, you'll do it again. Now they're able to right the ship, but they're always competitive.
Well, speaking of Iowa, Jay, vacating wins from 2023 for tampering with Cade McNamara. Think about that. Iowa had to give up more wins on its official ledger for self-reporting and suspending Kirk Ferentz, an assistant, for a game than Michigan did for, everything.
Well, that lets you know where Michigan's at and where Iowa's at.
The NCAA is so mad at Kentucky. Cleveland State has another 2 years probation.
I know.
Thanks, Tart.
So it's an indicator, where who can really bend the rules and who can't. And Iowa and, McNamara, which was led by his dad. His dad's the one that literally dropped a dime, which is crazy.
Hey, you're trying to recruit another quarterback? Watch this.
Remember, it was him on his recruiting visit, Eric All, tight end from Michigan, and Ernest Hausman.
Yeah.
All at an Iowa basketball game. Think he was tampering with the other two?
Makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Really makes you wonder.
Would you only call one guy in Michigan?
Yeah, right.
I mean, because remember, we even said it was weird. It was fast how quick Ernest Hausman was there. So.
All right. Let's hear from Dylan Raiola.
What?
We're just going to play some cuts. Give you a little bit of context.
I can only
here.
imagine.
It was about an 8-minute sit down for Dylan Raiola with the press up there in Eugene. Dylan Raiola, a little bit reflective on his time at Nebraska, what he learned in his time in Lincoln.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very grateful for the time I had in Nebraska. I'm very grateful for the coaches and the people and the fans and everyone that I came across too. Yeah, like you said, you can't emulate game speed reps, and I think there's a lot of instances of things that I could have did better to kind of help propel a team to win. But use all those experiences for learning and propel not only myself but this team forward. And however I can present ideas to help Dante or whoever in the room, I'm going to do my best to be the best teammate I can be.
You know what? That's the best I've heard from Dylan in 2.5 years. He really answered it well. He took some responsibility. He was appreciative. So everybody that was mad, rightfully so, that he didn't, pen
take out a full page ad.
Yeah, a goodbye letter or whatever. He showed a little humility, humble and all that stuff. So it's wish him nothing but the best. You don't want him to go there and fail. We just want him to don't play good against Nebraska.
If he plays against Nebraska this
or when
year.
He does.
Speaking about that, Dylan Raiola will play 2 cuts back-to-back here, deciding on Oregon before Dante Moore made his decision. What went into that?
Yeah, I think if you look back through it, I decided before Dante decided. And, it was just a total buy-in of the program and as Oregon as a whole. So I was very excited and to have the opportunity to learn from a number 1 draft pick caliber guy. It is very special. And, not only him, but the whole room. Every guy brings something to the table, good, bad, and different. And it's all great for everybody to learn from.
And then Dylan Raiola on his willingness to be a backup and spend that year potentially behind the scenes, barring injury.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just, obviously you got to humble yourself. I'd be lying if I say it didn't take a couple practices to kind of get used to it. But at the same time, it's all learning, and it's all trying to, eventually achieve the goal of mine and obviously of Dante's right now. And that's our whole room's goal is to get Dante to where he wants to go. And it's a great person to learn from.
That part sounded a little weird to me. It's our whole room's job to get Dante where he wants to go. That sounded to me like he was trying maybe a little bit too hard to be a good teammate, but I'm sure he's being supportive. And
he knows the dynamics of where he's at. He's the backup. This guy's going to potentially be the number 1 pick. He's going to be a first-round pick next year, assuming, all things remain equal. And it's probably an adjustment period for him. I mean, you got to think his whole life, rightfully so, every interview has been about him, right? He's the starter everywhere he's been. The first 2 years in college, he was not only the golden child, he was the savior and all that. And he was anointed before he even took a snap. And so every interview of everybody else on the team here at Nebraska literally could have been and was a lot about Dylan and all this and the media attention. Now you're up there and you're seeing a guy that's probably a little bit better than you. First time he's probably seen somebody in that close proximity that's better than him. Now, granted, Dante Moore's older, but Dante Moore went through the same thing. He might have been the same ranking as Dylan when he went to UCLA. Chip Kelly left. He went to Oregon, redshirted. So there is a path, and he can have a connection with Dante of working through that progress, playing behind good players, how to make that fruitful, and then when you get your chance, light it up like a Christmas tree. So, I mean, he's got a good opportunity to and he's got a chance to play at least 4 games. So,
if not 9.
Yeah, if not 9, or who knows by then. But so he has a chance to, learn a lot. And sometimes when you're watching, I'm sure you appreciate being out there, but I think it obviously allows you to reflect and think on some things also.
Let's go ahead and hear a little bit more from Dylan Raiola before we get out of this segment. What does Dylan Raiola hope to get out of this season? Here it is in his own words.
Yeah, I'm trying to just maximize this year on everything. Getting healthy, getting back to a place where, I can play and compete and do all the things that I love doing. And mainly the connection of this team and being able to learn as a leader, learn from Coach Lanning, learn from Coach Cole and Dante and all the fellas here. So I'm just very blessed to be a part of this football program. And it'll be exciting things to come.
And of course, he got the Mahomes question. It's not just Nebraska people asking him about the Mahomes thing. Here's Dylan Raiola on that.
No, I wouldn't say I lean into it or I love it. I think that's just a lot of outside noise. And there's some things that obviously probably that I do that gets taken over the hump. But just, I guess just learning. I learned from Dante, but I also go back to the NFL and watch Patrick. I watch Tom Brady and Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford. Like, those are my favorite people to watch. So I think it's just finding ways to learn and grow my game. And he just so happens to be one of the best in the league that does it at a high level.
Probably also a better answer to that question than he had in Lincoln.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to. Well, I think now he changed his number, but I'm just saying he wasn't going to be able to.
Yeah, Jay, what did he change his number to?
8, right?
The last guy that wore number 8 at that university?
Dennis Dixon.
Marcus Mario.
I know. I was just
okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to be able to, if he was going along the same path, he wasn't going to be able to outrun the Patrick Mahomes questions.
Yeah.
And it's probably good for him. He doesn't have it. He probably was doing some of the stuff and didn't even realize it. I mean, I'm pretty sure he realized it, but he didn't probably realize it. I don't think he realized. I don't think he maybe calculated the people's reaction to it. And so, ultimately, it's really good that he watches guys that are doing it at a high level. You can pick up on some things that let you know. I mean, there's no question that Dylan knows his stuff. He knows his stuff, man. And so his main focus has got to be getting better. That's it. It's the little things. It's not the big things. It's not all the fancy stuff. We talk about this basketball all the time. That stuff needs to go away. Because what makes all those guys that he talked about the best? I played against Tom Brady plenty of times. I can tell you what he does really good. Just the simple things. Mahomes, he does the simple things.
Matthew
Stafford, same stuff.
Apparently rose from the dead this offseason and played pretty well.
Yeah. No back injury. Hey, my back healed up when I got that check though. And then Joe Burrow, all that stuff. They make great throws. The arm talent's there, but they get paid off making the simple things look extraordinary.
Indeed, they do. Westy says perhaps Dylan Raiola learned he's not as good as he or we may have initially thought.
You never are. But I'm not going to sit here and have people like, oh, he wasn't that good anyways. Yeah, he was. He was good. He was good. Now, could he have been better? Sure. And that's on Dylan at some things. He could have been better at some things. That's a learning process. Don't sit up here and say like, oh, he was garbage. No, don't say that.
No.
That's not the case. He could have been. There's a lot of. I could have been better at stuff when I played. Tom Brady probably tell you he could be better at some stuff. Peyton as well. And Dylan's no different.
The only thing Peyton could have been better at is having a better neck. But
Look at Eric, man. Eric, I don't know what my record was against Tom Brady.
Eric, I also hate you bringing that up because the Colts record against Tom Brady.
Listen,
so,
Tom Brady
come on, man.
Will cut your heart out, man. I'm telling you something. I choked Tom Brady. I did.
Like?
Yeah, with 2 hands. And shook him. And he looked me dead in the eye. I said, you know what, man? I can't tell you what I said. I said, this dude got a little, he got some dog in him. He does.
Yeah.
He cold-blooded. He got annihilated by Nate Clemens. Looked like he was dead. Got right up. Now, I know he was woozy, but he made it to the sideline. Yes, Thomas and Lincoln, Peyton, and Tom Brady are slow. There's a lot of great quarterbacks that are slow. Dan Marino was slow.
Also, Thomas, you misspelled Peyton's name, and I'm blocking you. So, I'm kidding.
You say Peyton with an E?
Peyton with an E.
Yeah.
Let's go to break. We'll wrap up Power 1 in just a sec.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to power your progress, so you can give everything you've got, all for just 1 cent down. Whether you want to get the most out of our best-in-class equipment or go all in with free fitness training, our trainers are ready to help you get stronger than ever before. Take your workout to the next level at Planet Fitness. Join the club today for 1 cent down, $15 a month. No commitment. Deal extended to April 16th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
When it comes to keeping your equipment running, you've got options at Landmark Implement. Whether you need premium John Deere parts or a more economical solution, A&I parts from Landmark deliver the dependable performance you can count on with cost savings up to 40%. From filters and bearings to belts and everyday repairs, A&I parts are built to work as hard as you do while helping stretch your budget further. Stop by your local Landmark Implement parts counter today or shop online anytime at shop.deere.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Zach Bryan with Heaven on Tour.
Poison myself again. Something in the orange tells me you'll never come.
Saturday, April 25th, Memorial Stadium.
Wish I didn't, but I do.
With special guests, Kings of Leon and J.R. Carroll. Tickets are on sale now at ZachBryan.com. Don't miss Zach Bryan live.
Graham Tire presents Life's Greatest Adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Sandhills Global is growing right here in Lincoln. With our expanding campus and continued growth, we're hiring across a wide range of careers, from interns to experienced professionals. Join the team at Sandhills Global and build your career with competitive pay, great benefits, and real opportunities to grow. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today. That's sandhills.jobs.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back wrapping up hour one of Old School, brought to you as always by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Austin Orman, Jay Foreman with you. Miscellaneous couple things here to end this segment, this hour off here, Jay. First of all, from Denny, Jay, what are the different kinds of rubs that you use when you cook your ribs?
Well, I make my own.
Proprietary.
Yeah, I make my own. What do they got?
Did you have a starter kit or something that when you first started, you weren't making your own rub? Did you get like a certain one from the store to start people off with, or have you always made your own rub?
That's what we've always done, did our own. But there's some good ones out there. There's my dad's spices. They make a good one. It depends on what you're cooking. They got one for like red meat, beef, and they got, forget the name of the spices, like All Star Spices or something. They're really good. I've used a combination one time. This is when I was cooking ribs when I was actually out of town. I was in Charlotte. So I promised I was going to make ribs, staying in an Airbnb, and they had a grill. So you got to kind of get stuff. And when you're just going through the grocery store, just putting anything in there. I used Famous Dave's rib rub, but I mixed it in with some of my stuff. It actually turned out pretty good. So I did Famous Dave's.
Okay.
Some brown sugar, put a little bit of garlic salt in there, and some cracked pepper in there. It was pleasantly decent. But the rub is all based on how long you marinate it, which I think you should do overnight, or at least 12 hours, because I think it gets into the meat and stuff like that. And then obviously it's temperature control.
Yeah. There you have it, Denny.
Yeah.
Hope that answers your question. We'll wrap up the hour with this, Jay. We were going to do some Nebraska basketball stuff. We can save that either for the start of next segment or at 4:45, depending on when more news comes down. But Rob Wright is back at BYU.
I know.
Had been a
Got
strong
paid.
Kentucky lean. I think this is really interesting. There's a bunch of different dynamics at play here. And I know on the Twitter sphere and especially the Kentucky bubble, there's a lot going on with Mark Pope or Mark Poop, as they've taken to calling him on the message boards. Struck out a lot, lost a big man target to DePaul somehow, which is, again,
Just
a
like
funky,
against the rules.
Yeah, it's just a weird look. But anyways, Rob Wright is withdrawing from the portal. He's going to return to BYU. This is such a sign of the times. Here's what Matt Norlander of CBS Sports says. Big for BYU had been trending this way the past 20 hours. My understanding is that Wright's camp wanted to really test the market on a bigger NIL number after BYU wouldn't budge. But amid all that hoopla, Rob Wright wasn't really that eager to play at a third school in 3 years. Camp says, go get your money. Rob Wright says, nah, I'm happy. I don't want to move again.
Yeah, I mean, that means BYU upped their offer more than what they initially did. It's very, very refreshing that he didn't want to go to another school, but I'm sure he likes it up there. Oddly enough, but a little bit more money in your pocket, that clear boot, that nice fresh air, brings some light to everything. Man, I don't know. I definitely couldn't be at no BYU.
There's been all sorts of stuff on the Kentucky message boards that some of it is fit to air, but I'm gonna hold off on.
You can only imagine.
You can only imagine.
Yeah.
Just go to the Kentucky message boards, and you are you're in for a wild ride. Unlike Rob Wright, who is taking no ride at all. He is staying in BYU. So sounds like he made it back from Lexington and is locked down there in Provo.
I wonder what it is about Pope that doesn't allow him to close. Because you can't say it's like you don't have the support or the money.
Does he have the support we think he does right now?
Well, they're NIL. Or their
right,
money.
but support is more than money.
Well, if I'm going to talk to Austin and your number is X, I know I have X plus 1. I got the support. So then it becomes on you.
Well, okay, but to me, money is a part of support. Money is not the full picture because Mark Pope could be another 22-win season away from being fired.
Right, but you're only going to be there for that season, and you're going to be getting paid no matter what.
But do you want to deal with the politics and the drama behind the scenes that you're walking into?
I don't think a kid at that age don't care. Austin, let's be honest. These kids don't even care about history.
I'm going to give Rob Wright some benefit of the doubt here that he would at least be somewhat into. If he's mature enough and strong enough to step up to his family and say, it's not just about the money. Ma, Pa, I'm tired. I like it here. I'm good. I got my money. I'm good. I would like to think that he would understand some of the interpersonal dynamics he's walking into, because did he hear about it? Would he have heard about it from Mark Pope? Absolutely not. From other people on his visit or with people in his camp that want him to get the biggest bag.
Or BYU.
Hey, guess what?
Yeah.
Or BYU.
Other players. All these players know each other. That could be it.
I don't know.
But you're still questionable at best. You're suspect at best, Mr. Wright. For you to stay at BYU at 22, 20, or 21, 22 years old. You're suspect, brother. I'm glad you got paid. You're sus.
Each his own.
You're just like Ryan Day with his little statement. Suspect.
Man.
We need, you know what? We're going to have the suspect person of the week. That's going to be a new segment.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. We won't, I'm going to tell you this right now. We're not going to do any politics. No. We're only going to do sports.
Yes.
Sports and closely related. If it be,
tangentially related.
Yeah. All funny.
Okay, pick a day of the week. Well, we'll find out a day.
Yeah. Oh, we could do one today.
I think we just did.
Yeah.
You made Rob Wright the inaugural.
Rob Wright, yeah. We are Wednesday suspect person of the week. Congratulations.
All right. Big news in Husker baseball, but it's more than just Husker baseball. How do coaches and players handle demotions and role shuffling? What's the best way to do it? What's the right way? What's the wrong way? We'll talk about that and more on the Husker baseball situation with Evan Bland coming up in hour 2.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Zach Bryan with Heaven on Tour.
Poison myself again, something in the orange orange tells me you'll never call
Saturday,
me
April
home.
25th, Memorial Stadium.
Wish I didn't, but I do.
With special guests, Kings of Leon and J.R. Carroll. Tickets are on sale now at ZachBryan.com.
I think I've heard you coming.
Don't miss Zach Bryan live.
Sandhills Global is growing right here in Lincoln. With our expanding campus and continued growth, we're hiring across a wide range of careers, from interns to experienced professionals. Join the team at Sandhills Global and build your career with competitive pay, great benefits, and real opportunities to grow. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today. That's sandhills.jobs.
Need an adventure? How about the bright lights of Vegas? The magic of Orlando? Or the sunshine of Orange County? Now you can reach them all with new flights from LNK on Breeze Airways. Stretch out, relax, and enjoy the flight. Your vacation starts the moment you board at LNK. Book today at LincolnAirport.com. LNK. Make flying easy.
April is Parkinson's Awareness Month, and guys, this is your reminder to take your health seriously. If you've noticed tremors, stiffness, or slower movement, don't ignore it. Parkinson's disease affects men more often, and early detection can make all the difference. This spring, take control. Get answers, take action. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they're helping you spring back into health with advanced technology and compassionate care, because your health isn't something to put off. Advanced Medical Imaging, your diagnosis, their priority.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies. It'll be breezy with a high near 77. Tonight, mainly clear skies, a light breeze, the low around 47. Tomorrow, we'll see lots of sunshine. It'll be breezy and warm, a high near 85. I'm meteorologist Kyle Husker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When it comes to keeping your equipment running, you've got options at Landmark Implement. Whether you need premium John Deere parts or a more economical solution, A&I parts from Landmark deliver the dependable performance you can count on with cost savings up to 40%. From filters and bearings to belts and everyday repairs, A&I parts are built to work as hard as you do while helping stretch your budget further. Stop by your local Landmark Implement parts counter today or shop online anytime at shop.deere.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Looking for something fun tonight? Axe throwing, local beer, and great vibes are waiting at Arbor Axe House. From casual nights out to celebrations and team events, it all starts here. Reserve a lane today at arbораxe.com. Arbor Axe House at the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Now's the time to schedule your air conditioner service check with Bryant. Make sure it's ready to keep you cool and comfortable when you really need it. Call Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Coy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Woo! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time. And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. Your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yes, it is. Welcome in hour 2 of the show. Austin Norman, Jay Foreman with you. 402-464-5685 if you want to be a part of the show. Eric, your nomination for next week's suspect person is denied. Kip and Bill, appreciate y'all chiming in as well. Jay, we'll just get right to it here. Not even give Eric the oxygen and the attention.
This dude crazy.
That
he
so desperately craves. Nebraska baseball beats Creighton yesterday.
Yep.
Coming back from down 4-0, win at 5-4. The story of that game, though, was that we saw Nebraska's ace going into the year, the guy that they hung a lot on last year as well, Ty Horn, their Friday night guy, moved to the bullpen. And I was at a church meeting last night. I didn't have a chance to watch the game, but I got all these texts, Horn out of the bullpen. That's interesting. What's going on with that? And I wondered, first and foremost, if he just like missed a bullpen day. Illness, under the weather, couldn't throw. He's, just coming in to get his work in. Or maybe Nebraska was inspired by what Kansas did last week, and they're like, hey, this game means a lot to us. We're going to go ahead and throw our guy to go ahead and make sure we lock up this midweek win. But Evan Bland, who we'll talk to coming up at 4:30, was part of the media scrum there, as he always is, and he tweeted after the game, Nebraska's Ty Horn will pitch out of the bullpen moving forward, Coach Will Bolt says. He's not ready to talk about the rotation for USC, but the Huskers plan to continue using the former Friday starter as a high leverage reliever. There's a lot going on there, a lot to break down. But I think first and foremost, Jay, this isn't as simple as, moving your starting point guard to the bench and bringing in your backup. It's not like bringing in your backup quarterback. This is different in baseball. There's something about, especially in college, being that Friday night guy, getting the ball first on, the first night of a series. You're the best dude. You're going to set the tone for the entire weekend. And for a team like Nebraska too, usually the guy that gets the ball first in the postseason. And now with 4 Big Ten series and then a few midweeks remaining, Nebraska's saying, you know what? We're going to go a different direction. And the ramifications of this are so many. And there's a bunch of different ways that we can go. If you want to do the baseball specific, we can. But I think the more interesting part for you is, and me right now, is the handling of situations like this. Because Ty Horn hasn't been atrocious. You can't point to it and say, well, he was just so bad we couldn't afford to do it any longer. This is a winning program. This is a winning team. What's the right way, and what coaches or players, what does it take to handle these situations, with grace and with class, but to still be a competitor, not take it personal, but take the hint and work on getting better?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a ton of maturity on both sides, a ton of trust as well, which trust and maturity go hand in hand. It has to be impeccable communication, and then you have to have a legitimate reason for it. Because if you demote a guy from the Friday night starter to middle relief or whatever, and you're just giving them some hogwash, not only do you lose him, you lose the rest of the team.
Yeah.
And you have to have a rhyme or reason for it, and it necessarily can't be performance, because I could have a little bit higher ERA, but we might have a lot of errors, or when I'm, untimely errors where, say you have a guy that kind of, flubs a easy out to shortstop, and then you don't get that last out in that inning. Well, then say you might give up a homer and two more batters. Well, now that everybody's looking, okay, man, Jay sucks on the mound, right? He can't finish. Well, he would have never had to been in that position if we didn't just do the simple thing. So you have to have a ton of communication. You have to be able to look him in the eye and say, this is what we're going to do because it benefits the team, and this is how it's going to benefit you. And as right now, I don't think you can tell him this isn't for the rest of the season. This is pretty much how you're moving forward. Don't try to leave it. You cannot have the carrot that you're going to go back to where you were before. Or at least you have to have a plan. If it's short term, tell them it's short term. If it's long term, tell them it's long term. If you tell them it's just the regular rest of the season, we'll reevaluate. This is what we're trying to do. What it seems to me what the team is trying to do, they're trying to exhaust all options to host a region. That's what it seems like, because you're using some of your better arms during the week, and you're obviously probably reeling from that Oregon series, and now you got a big one coming up, at USC. And so you're really trying to stay on pace. That's it.
The part that I think is most striking about this is, number one, the Will Bolt aspect of it. We've never seen him do anything this drastic to my recollection.
Yeah.
And number two, Jay, this is kind of the golden goose for Nebraska. They have loved Ty Horn, his makeup, his demeanor, and his stuff for a few years now. Well, you see it last night when they go to him, but you see it with them giving him the SEC teams at the start of last year, giving him the ball to start this year. This is a guy that Nebraska has pushed a lot of chips toward being the ace, the guy that can develop at the top of that rotation. And again, Ty Horn hasn't been a problem. He hasn't been bad, but I have a lot of respect for Will Bolt making this move, whatever the rationale is, with this pitcher specifically, who this staff has really liked for a long time, not putting him above the team, playing favorites. Well, we trust him to figure it out. You've seen the results. They've been middle of the road, for the most part for Ty Horn. We just don't often see coaches do that with players that they've invested that much into.
Yeah, and sometimes you're still invested in them, but you want to get to another way, to the end by another way, and they think maybe this is the best place for them. Maybe they feel like they struggled to where he went in last night and can have the same positive outcome on the game, and maybe you can get more out of him. Maybe you think like, okay, well, if we can get 6 innings out of him and you spread it over 2.5 games versus just 1, okay, then we have a better chance to win series and obviously, go to somebody, in the middle of a game that can, finish the game if need be. So there's probably a lot of, legit rationale, with it. It was on display last night. It didn't affect the way, Ty went out there and performed. I think he had the same energy, the same swag, the stare down to Creighton, dug out after they tried to, slow play Nebraska's momentum. And he was an energy, he was an energy plug into their, in the fielding part and by his intensity and what he was able to do. And I will say this, every athlete goes through this. Whether you could talk about basketball, Michael Jordan getting cut, Steph Curry not being big enough or strong enough, and he was almost out of the league. Draymond Green, you don't have a position. LeBron James is going through it right now. You're not the A player. Sometimes you might be the C player. You're in a when they start. Iconic players are starting.
Drew Brees, you're too short.
Right.
Tom Brady, you bombed the
role
40.
player. Drew Brees, you weren't starting right away. Tom Brady.
Jerry Rice, you're too slow.
Right, too slow, and it wasn't instant success. And then Jerry Rice, later in his career had to go, wasn't able to finish with the 49ers. The same with Tom Brady. So everybody goes through it in different form or fashion. How you handle it is one thing. It's commendable how he handled it, right? Because that's a lot for him to process in a short amount of time. You're live on stage against Creighton. Then how the team handles it, or the coaches and also the assistant coaches, has to be the same. And that's why you get the result last night. If you have it to where there's any glimmer of personal and it's not justified and it doesn't work, it could be catastrophic.
I'm going to give you my theory on the Nebraska.
I want to say this.
Yeah,
stuff.
Go for it.
When you say you don't take it personal. Here's the thing: don't take it personal to where it becomes emotional, but you dang sure better take it personal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you take it too personal, then it becomes emotional. You
Me
take
against you,
right? And you can still have that, but you have to be laser focused
on improvement,
right? Because if you get too much focused on Austin did this to me, I get out there and I don't play well. The best, if you want to get payback, right, and make your argument legit without even having to speak, do what he did last night, and then do it again. Because then it's going to come back on Will Bolt as he's performing well. How do you really think about it? And it's a win-win. You're proving it to yourself and your teammates. You as a coach can take credit. He's doing really well there. If in a pinch we could put him in this position, but he's excelling right here. You can kind of work it up like that as long as you handle it right when you receive the message.
A couple rhetorical questions first that I know we don't have the answer to quite yet, but I'm curious to see if we ever learn. Who was behind the move being made? Was it Will Bolt thinking about this team and its chance to host a regional? Like you said, I think that factors in. Was it Will Bolt thinking about the future and the ceiling of the program? Was this a Rob Childress thing? I mean, obviously, he would have been consulted about it, but whose idea was it initially? I would love to know, and maybe we'll find out down the line. But then here's my theory of the case, Jay. Nick and I broached this on Monday, not quite head on, but we mentioned that Nebraska probably had a higher ceiling with someone else in the Friday night role. Ty Horn had been fine, not elite, definitely left you wanting some more. But Nebraska had found ways to win anyways. He wasn't killing them.
He wasn't dominant.
Wasn't dominant, but wasn't killing him. He was there, right? He was pitching like a Sunday guy on Fridays, which for a team that's where Nebraska is or where Nebraska wants to be isn't enough. We weren't sure that Will Bolt would want to go away from his guy like he did last night, or even just rejigger the rotation which happens especially early in seasons. But again, really not that often with a Friday guy. You give a lot of credit to a guy like Carson Yassa for stepping up with strikeout stuff. Katsky transferring in as the MAC pitcher of the year has been as advertised. Gavin Blackowitz as a starter has been a revelation for Nebraska so far this year. It's not necessarily rare in baseball to see a starter go to the bullpen, right? That's usually guys that struggle with command, that can only go, 2 or 3 innings before they lose it, whatever it is. And we heard from Ty Horn after the game yesterday. And one of his answers said, yeah, there was some more FU. There was some more screw you behind my pitches. And I wonder if the move to the bullpen is a kind of a mental reset trick or a light switch flip move from Nebraska. Put him in the bullpen. Tell him you can go all out, pedal to the metal for an inning or two. Don't hold back. See what you have in the tank. Not in a, and obviously the harder you throw, the more likely you are to get injured. I don't think that's what it is. I think the staff still believes in Ty Horn to such a degree that they want him to get a taste of how good he can be, how lively his arm can be, how his stuff can play. But the best way for Ty Horn to do that might be, in this staff's estimation, to see it out of the bullpen. Right? I'm going to use the Royals example here just because they come to mind. You think about a guy like Wade Davis, who's the most dominant postseason pitcher this side of Mariano Rivera. Failed starter. Ty Horn wasn't necessarily a failed starter, but wasn't an elite starter. Wade Davis, when he made the move from the rotation to the bullpen, became lights out. You think about a guy like Luke Hochevar, top draft pick, spent years putzing around the Royals system as a starter, getting shelled to a tune of a 5 ERA. They put him in the bullpen, and he's a sturdy, consistent 6th to 8th inning guy. Not elite, not a closer, not getting paid the big bucks, but carved out a role for himself. But both those guys, their stuff, their velocity, their movement played up and got better with a move to the bullpen. There's a part of me that thinks this is a move for this year because Nebraska's had some issues kind of bridging that gap between the starter and the closer role that Jayshon Unger's taken over. So if you like Ty Horn, you think he has the stuff, it probably helps the team to have a guy that you can trust to get you at least 3 and usually 6 outs pretty consistently with good stuff like that. I think this is a move that certainly shores up the bullpen, a move that can only be made because Nebraska's found, 3 other guys that can give Nebraska at least, a chance on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Yassa, Katsky, and Blackowitz, which I presume the rotation will be. It does leave me wondering why they moved him straight to the bullpen instead of moving him to the midweek, giving him a chance to start. Yes. On Tuesdays to work through some of these issues. I'm a little surprised they went straight to bullpen and straight to high leverage, but I think there's 2 ways that this ends for Nebraska and Ty Horn. Either he appreciates Nebraska for what they tried to do, says, nope, I'm a starter, and he transfers out. Or that light bulb does come on. The switch goes up to the on position. And Ty Horn realizes that his stuff is good, realizes he has another gear with his fastball, realizes that he doesn't have to dance around the strike zone. He can just go and attack hitters. And I think some offseason development with movement and fastball shape, could certainly help Ty Horn. But there's a world where this move to the bullpen, this demotion, I think we have to be honest about what it is. It's a demotion.
Yeah.
You weren't getting it done to what we needed or wanted on Friday. So we're moving you down the pecking order. We're still putting you in a place that you'll pitch key innings for us, but being the guy, being the ace, being the Friday night guy is a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Wearing that ace title means something. And to lose that, it ought to hurt. And I'm sure it did for and probably will for Ty Horn. But if he is the young man of the character and talent that this staff thinks he is, he'll figure it out in the bullpen. That light bulb will pop on. And then he can be that dominant Friday guy that Nebraska wants him to be next season.
Yeah, I mean, it's if last night was a example of how he's going to handle it, I think it's a good move for him and obviously the team. And next year, what he decides to do will be handled then. When you're an athlete and you're going through things like this, you have your feelings. The staff and the coaches have their feelings. You definitely don't like it because he's a competitor, or if you're a competitor, you definitely don't like it. Now, it's not going to change it no matter really what you say. You got to say with your piece and move on. And then you got to hyper focus on what you need to do. I mean, he pitched 3 strong innings yesterday or last night. It's going to be expected him to do that every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the offseason, he can really sit back and maybe evaluate what he wasn't doing to their liking or to the high enough level to be the Friday night, starter, because he has all the intangibles. He has, enough, speed and velocity. He's got the mindset and competitive, but maybe you need to get better at just the art of pitching, right? And studying more, whatever it may be. Then you go from there. If they say we only want you at, extended closer minutes or whatever you want to call it, that's a choice he has to make, but you're not going to make that choice right now. I mean,
you can't.
No, and it might be in the back of your mind, but a good, and the thing about athletes, you could be, I will say this, obviously they play down in the Haymarket. You could be driving from 56 and O Street talking about your situation. As you get closer to the stadium, you start to focus in on your job. As you're warming up, you focus in on your job. When you're out there on the mound, you're focusing in. And, sometimes people do things to strike a nerve with you. Good coaches know what buttons to push. Bill Parcells is famous for that. Sean Payton does it. I've had coaches do it, with me. Reggie Herring is a coach that I'm very close with. Love him to death. He pushed every button. He pushed them right. And, hopefully this move with, Coach Bolton and company continues to work like he did last night. And he handled it well. Give him credit, man.
Yeah. You have to.
Because he was spicy. Straight up. And that's what you want, because it's got to be a little bit more of that. I like it.
Now let's see if it works.
Well,
in theory, it's great.
Yeah. But it's not just on him. Who you put in his spot has to perform.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So this move, everybody's looking at Ty Horn, and he seems like he'll just go out there and show you and play with a little chip on his shoulder. But whoever's in that other spot, you better perform better than he is, or he did.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 people in this: Will Bolt, Ty, and whoever's the new starter in his role. We've seen one.
I'm going to throw Rob Childress in there. He's got some long history in Nebraska.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, I guess you could say whoever made the decision and put them all into one.
Sure. Coaches, Ty Horn,
and
next man up.
And whoever's in Friday night start.
We don't know who that could be quite yet. We'll figure it out throughout the course of the week, probably by tomorrow, I would guess, is when we have that information. Evan Bland was there last night. Let's get his opinion, pick his brain on this very same topic after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, bold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
When it comes to keeping your equipment running, you've got options at Landmark Implement. Whether you need premium John Deere parts or a more economical solution, A&I parts from Landmark deliver the dependable performance you can count on with cost savings up to 40%. From filters and bearings to belts and everyday repairs, A&I parts are built to work as hard as you do while helping stretch your budget further. Stop by your local Landmark Implement parts counter today or shop online anytime at shop.deere.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Need an adventure? How about the bright lights of Vegas? The magic of Orlando? Or the sunshine of Orange County? Now you can reach them all with new flights from LNK on Breeze Airways. Stretch out, relax, and enjoy the flight. Your vacation starts the moment you board at LNK. Book today at LincolnAirport.com. LNK. Make flying easy.
At Schweezel Construction, safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Build with us. Work safe, go home proud. We're hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back, on and off the job site. If you're ready to be part of a company where your safety and success come first, visit Schwizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com and apply today. Schwizo Construction, 40 years strong and still building the future.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is Jordy Ball for Anderson Ford. For years, Anderson has relied on an exceptional customer experience. But just this once, they're going to rely on a really great pitch.
Right now, lease a 2026 Ford F-150 for $197 per month for 36 months.
Experience better at Anderson Ford.
Stock number 1008753, $199 per month, lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, $10,250 due at signing, no security deposit required, tax, title, and license fees extra, residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 4/30/26.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
A membership with John Henry's will fast-track you to front-of-the-line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call John Henry's.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating
and electrical.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Time for a new AC? Call Bryant. Get rebates now and lower operating costs every day. For comfort and efficiency, call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is indeed Old School. I'm Austin Norman. Jay Foreman will be back before too long. But for now, we're headed to our Allo Fiber VIP line, where we're going to talk some Husker baseball with Evan Bland of the Omaha World-Herald. Evan, a very happy Wednesday to you and yours. How's it going?
Can't complain, man. Another good week, and nothing too crazy going on.
Indeed, but a lot crazy going on in Husker baseball. Some good, some worth talking about as well. Before we get into last night's game against Creighton, Evan, let's go back really quickly to the weekend and to the Oregon series. A 1-2 weekend for Nebraska, but even in the run differential, a 2-run win for the Huskers, sandwiched by a pair of 1-run losses. What's the fallout from that series loss to Oregon for Nebraska?
Well, that was a big chance to make up some RPI ground for sure. And I'd put the home game against Kansas in there too, from the midweek a week ago. That was a team that's ranked as well. But yeah, I mean, you go on the road. I mean, if you win a series against a team with a top 30 RPI like Oregon had at that point, I mean, you're taking a big jump. And so it probably cost them a handful of spots there. Now that conversation continues this week with some more opportunities coming up in the next week or so. But the road factor does really play a part. And I think it was a chance too to make something of a national statement when you think about Oregon as a team that hosted a regional last year, finished right near the top of the Big Ten a year ago. They're seen, I think, more commonly as something of a national power. So I do think Nebraska could have solidified its place in the national consciousness a little bit. And then you look and see that some outlets like D1 Baseball actually dropped them out of their top 25, which to me seemed a little bit harsh when you look at just how competitive all the games were last week. They go 1-3, but they led in every one of them, and they were 2 hits away from winning another game or two in Eugene. So it was a missed opportunity, one that they're going to be able to rectify a little bit. But, you follow it along. It had regional vibes. There was some tempers that flared up a little bit. And I think this team, as much as it stacked wins through the month of March, is maybe finding a little bit more of an edge here in April, even though some of the games just didn't go their way, especially last week.
You mentioned that little rankings piece, and D1 Baseball has been kind of the ranking of records, at least in the college baseball populace for a while. Nebraska did remain in on the fringes of some other ones, but dropping out of that D1 Baseball ranking means something to a lot of people across the country. And, it's just the top 25. We mentioned all the time. Does it really matter? It's about how you're playing at the end of the year and all that. But Evan, I do think there's an argument to be made that, optics like being ranked, 40 plus wins, sweeping series, stuff like that tends to matter more for Nebraska and other northern teams, more so than, SEC, ACC, and Big 12 teams, which is where it, falling out of the rankings doesn't really matter, but kind of it does in terms of, being in the national conscience, especially for Nebraska in its quest to host a regional for the first time in, 15 plus years.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. You're going to be graded a little bit stricter if you're a northern team. Like I mentioned, there were other teams that had similar weeks to Nebraska that moved very little in the top 25. And I think that just is a nod to the fact that Nebraska hasn't been there consistently, even when they have been in the rankings in the last 8 to 10 years. It's kind of been in for a couple of weeks and then you dip out. I mean, this was about as long as they've been able to sustain a top 25 ranking. But yeah, I mean, when you start talking about building resumes and RPIs and things, like if you're in the SEC, man, just look at a weekly schedule in the ACC, and there's always a chance to make a statement, and always a chance to jump up or down that RPI ladder. And that just isn't the case with Nebraska. It was last week. It is this week with USC coming in, but then, you've got Illinois and Ohio State and Iowa and Minnesota and some of these teams that are kind of, close to triple digits in RPI. And it's just hard to make too much of a move in that way. So, ultimately, if you're a fringe regional host, top 20 RPI or so, generally maybe top 25, like the things that you're going to be judged on are, what are your marquee wins? How many of those do you have? And Nebraska, just by the nature of where it plays, isn't going to have as many opportunities as some of your warmer weather schools. So this is another reason why it's such an important series, is if you can win a series against USC, that's something that people don't have to watch the games that are making these decisions. They can see that in cold black and white, and that can make a difference. And USC itself is in a pretty similar spot. I mean, they're top 15 RPI right now, but they have some tough schedules ahead. That's a program over there that hasn't hosted since 2002 when they went to the College World Series last. So they have a lot on the line too. And if you win a series like that as Nebraska, not only are you moving yourself up, but maybe you're pushing yourself past one of those other potential fringe teams here in about a month and a half.
Moving on to last night's game, then, Evan, Nebraska comes back from an early deficit to take down Creighton. Always a story when Nebraska and Creighton get together, and Nebraska wins the season series for the first time in nearly a decade, right? With a couple tight wins and still a game left to go. What's gone into the near decade drought in terms of season series wins for Nebraska? How to get to this point, and what does it mean that Nebraska is now back on the right side of the season series?
Well, I think the thought for a long time, and it's sort of anecdotal, but it felt like for a number of years that Creighton took those games a lot more seriously than Nebraska, and you saw that in how they handled their bullpen, who they would bring in. You saw it, quite honestly, in just the way the guys carried themselves post game. I mean, Ed Service, the former Creighton coach, they make no mistake, that was a big deal to him to beat Nebraska. And for Nebraska, it was usually, hey, these are it's a rival, but we're looking toward the Big Ten and saving pitching for that. And the offense wasn't always able to respond in those moments. And they always tried to keep sort of a big picture, I think, marathon kind of approach to the season and to that game. And I do think the emotion that Creighton would often play with, that kind of that chip on the shoulder underdog mentality, often did translate in some of those games. And, we talk about kind of the emotional awakening Nebraska's gone through the last week plus. I think that's something that you saw at Haymarket on Tuesday night, where, Nebraska's bullpen and left field's chirping a little bit with Creighton's left fielder, and the guys are, probably a little more boisterous than they had been. Certainly the crowd was as into it as ever. Nebraska makes the move to put Ty Horn in the game in the middle innings, and he stabilized things, and they go to Jay-Sean Unger, their best relief arm, for 2. So you don't do that if the game doesn't matter. And so I think they've done a better job certainly this year of still taking kind of that game by game approach that you need in baseball, but also realizing when there is something a little bit more at play to tap into that and to use that to your advantage than the other way. I think that's something maybe this team's a little bit further along on than some past Husker teams.
We're talking with Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, who was at last night's game between Nebraska and Creighton. And let's get into that you just mentioned, Evan. Ty Horn out of the bullpen. I was at a church meeting, and I exited the meeting to a bunch of texts that said, Ty Horn out of the bullpen. That was new. And my first thought was, okay, did Ty Horn, have to skip a bullpen day and was getting some midweek work? Did Nebraska take a page out of Kansas's book like we talked about last week, throwing their Friday guy? And then I saw your tweet and just blew, a hole in both of my theories there, where you tweeted that Ty Horn will pitch out of the bullpen moving forward, and the Huskers plan to continue using him as a high leverage reliever. Before we get into, the ramifications of this, you see that bullpen door swing open, Ty Horn runs out. Then you hear from Will Bolton. You hear about it post-game. What's going through your head as you see that and you hear that?
Yeah, I had some of the initial thoughts that you did, thinking maybe this is a bullpen game. You look at some of his recent Friday outings, it's been a struggle for him to get to 5 innings. So I thought, maybe you try to squeeze an inning or 2 out of him on the midweek, knowing that a lot of those weekend outings are going to be a little bit shorter. But, I do think it's been notable to hear Will Bolt the last few weeks be pretty public and open about the fact that Nebraska needs more length out of whoever is starting those Friday games. And it just does not set up your bullpen well when your starter's out by the 5th, before the 5th, and you got to go and burn a guy like Tucker Timmerman or, whoever it might be for multiple innings. And then that sets you back on the weekend. So you got a hint of it too, I think, when you saw Gavin Blackowitz come in on Sunday in the Oregon game. And that was a game Nebraska, I think he came in when they were down 1 and he threw 50 some pitches. And so that was another sign where it was like, okay, he'd been their 4th guy on the midweek now for a couple of weeks. And now he's maybe making that transition in there. And so I think all that plays a factor. And then, but you had to see how it played out too. Like, I think if Horn went in and got roughed up a little bit, you probably have to, look at the plan a little bit different. But what does he do? I mean, he gives up 2 base runners in 3 innings. He's hitting, 95, maybe 96 with the fastball at different times. He just, he just kind of quit nibbling and building up these long counts that have sort of plagued him at different points as a starter. And he just went out and shoved. And so, for a Nebraska bullpen that has kind of needed that extra arm anyway, that extra guy that you can count on in some of those 6th, 7th, 8th type of innings, that was a welcome sight. And I think it's a testament to the culture of that team too, that he can then talk to media types afterward and say, hey, whatever it takes to win, man. We found a way to win. If this is the role for me moving forward, then cool. I think that's they may have found something there. We'll see how it shakes out this weekend, but at least for that moment on Tuesday when Nebraska needed a stabilizer, Horn was able to do that. And I'm sure the Huskers would love for that to continue.
I definitely got caught up in the baseball ramifications of things when I first heard that news and was reading everything you and others were writing about it. But then it did hit me as well that there's a reason I think that Ty Horn got the nod as the Friday guy, and it speaks to his character and the program that he would talk to the media after that. And I thought it was really interesting. Evan, I think, provided some of the rationale, and I think you alluded to it there as well. Ty Horn mentioned having a little more, screw you behind his pitches last night. And we see this in baseball all the time. When a guy goes from, and usually it's failed starters, and I don't think we can call Ty Horn a failed starter. He wasn't a problem, but he wasn't a solution necessarily. The guys move to the bullpen, their stuff can tick up. They can let it loose a little bit more. I think this has the chance. Again, there's a lot of moving parts. A lot's got to go right. And we'll talk about the other names that need to step up here in just a minute. But I think this could be, an inflection point for Ty Horn's career to where maybe he is best served, with that screw you mentality in the bullpen. This might be a Will Bolt, Rob Childress decision to get Ty Horn in there to trust his stuff. Like you said, stop nibbling, stop working long counts. You have the juice, just go get guys. And it seems to me like this could be Nebraska hoping that a short-term move to the bullpen is all it takes for that light bulb to pop on over Ty Horn's head, and he can be back in the rotation for next season. Well, they can still find a way to best utilize him, and to your point, stabilize that bullpen, find that either that bridge guy or that setup guy that it seems like they've been lacking all year.
Yeah, I think that's all. That's a good breakdown. The thing I would add is that I think Horn, just the way, like his personality, who he is, like he's going to respond to a moment like that. And I don't think that's necessarily true of everybody. If you've been a Friday starter and you get, shifted to the bullpen, I think some guys could fall into their feelings or kind of mope about it, sulk about it. And he's just, his response is just to get pissed off and to come out and be like, yeah, I'm going to come out and I'm going to show my coaches, I'm going to show my teammates, I'm going to show these opposing hitters who have the audacity to step in against me. I'm going to show them all what I'm about. And this is a guy who was a top prospect out of the state of Kansas, highly recruited, highly competitive, one of the more colorful quotes on the team, as he was again Tuesday night. And so I think he just embraces a situation like this, and he's going to see that, hey, this means I got to be on the field, 2 or 3 times a week instead of just the one. And he mentioned too, like there's the blood gets flowing, the heart gets beating a little bit faster when they call your name in the 5th, and you don't have a lot of time to think about it, and you get up and you let talent and attitude take over. So I do think that's part of it too, is he's wired sort of like a reliever in that way. But I also agree with what you're saying, that his future is still pretty versatile. I mean, he's less than a year removed from that 8-inning gem against UCLA in the Big Ten tournament title game. So, like, he's got that ability in him as well. But if this is the role that sort of unlocks that something extra for him in the stretch run, I think he and Nebraska would both be just fine with it.
I was a little surprised that Will Bolt did say he's just headed straight to the bullpen and not a candidate to start in the midweeks. And I'm sure, like you said, the versatility is still there. And obviously Nebraska will be calling on him in the midweeks. But you also brought up the part that I think is one of the most fascinating things about this, is that it's just such a rare move, to send your ace to the bullpen, your Friday guy, where that really means something in college, to send him to a long relief, middle relief. And I know you said high leverage, and Nebraska, will have opportunities to use him there, but still you can only go down from the Friday guy and the ace of the staff. And this is a young man in Ty Horn that this staff is really like. They prized him. They put him out there on the mound. That UCLA game you mentioned, plenty of games against SEC and other NCAA tournament competition. I think a lot of programs that weren't as maybe confident in themselves or didn't have as good a vision for the future might say, well, we got this kid. We just got to keep running him out here because we don't want him to leave. And, he hasn't been terrible. And, well, we'll just maybe need a little bit more from our offense. It's not unprecedented. I'm sure it's happened before. But has Will Bolt ever made a decision, seemingly of this magnitude? And what does it say about Will Bolt that he was willing to pull the trigger on a move like this with 4 Big Ten series left?
Yeah, I mean, I think the timing of it relates to Nebraska realizing what's going on with USC, what's at stake with this series as well. And they know, they're very open about their goal of hosting a regional. And so you're going to put your best foot forward. I will say, I don't think this is a move they would have made a year ago in a similar circumstance, because they didn't have the pitching depth to make up for it on the weekends. I think a year ago, they would have said, hey, Ty Horn's clearly one of our 3 most talented starters, and you're going to just have to work through it. And hey, if he's done after 4, then we're just going to set up sort of a piggyback situation with Tucker Timmerman or whomever after that and live with it. But I think because of how good Carson Yass has been, especially in Big Ten play, Cooper Katsky, Nebraska made efforts to get him back on the weekend pretty quickly. What Gavin Blackowitz has done, he was pretty strong against Oregon even again last weekend. I think you can be comfortable and say, okay, let's roll with those 3 guys in whatever order. And then on Tuesdays, and you only have a handful of midweeks left, but on Tuesdays you could do honestly pretty similar to what we just saw against Creighton. You could start Price Bender, let him go as long as he's effective, and then you give it over to Horn in the middle innings and maybe Unger and Caleb Clark or Tucker Timmerman or Jalen Worthley or some of the other guys who've been throwing well. I think that's probably the recipe moving forward. And again, like it's kind of been Unger as the safety net, and everybody else has been a little bit up and down. I think if you get the Ty Horn that you got Tuesday night with that mid-90s velocity with 5 pitch mix, like that's something that can make a big difference in covering the middle innings of those games where it's been a struggle for Nebraska at times this year.
Is there any sort of, big picture state of the program taking the next step rationale behind this move? I mean, you and I have seen Nebraska baseball, and obviously Husker fans have as well, in regionals. They throw their Friday guy, and it just sounds a little different, looks a little different from an SEC team or an ACC team. I think Nebraska's always known, obviously pitching will get it through. Rob Childress certainly knows good pitching when he sees it. Is this Nebraska, finally, maybe to some degree, saying we just have to trust our guys with the best stuff out there, and that is maybe a Yasa and a Blackowitz this year? Or is this just a short-term, hey, we're in the best position to host a regional we've been in, we can reevaluate after this year, but this is what's best for this 2026 team?
Yeah, probably the latter. I mean, I do think this is a move that'll probably stick for the rest of the year, barring an injury or something like that. But, the staff, the coaching staff's done, I think, a good job of being flexible when it needs to about where guys can play and giving guys an opportunity. I mean, again, Mac Moyer was a guy who was not a day one starter this year. Jay Sean Unger as the closer was not, probably in the top 3 of guys that you would have thought would have that role at the start of the year. So there are examples on this team of guys who have earned what they have. With Horn, it'll be interesting because he is a junior and he could in theory get some professional looks this offseason. He's got the stuff, and I think the profile of a guy who could be an effective professional even next year. So, if he's not drafted, then the next thing becomes, well, what does he do in the summer? He's probably not going to go out and pitch, but what does that look like? And so we'll see. I don't know what I think his long-term, my hunch would be Ty Horn's long-term outlook would want to be as a starter. But wherever you're most effective, like sometimes probably the more preferred path for guys would be going from reliever to starter, but you can think of some examples of guys who were starters who ended up being pretty decent relievers too. So I think Horn's still kind of in the midst of that, and Nebraska's trying to figure out, hey, what's best for some of our guys individually in their careers, but also how do you piece it together on these teams to get Nebraska back into the postseason and have a chance to finally break through past that regional round that's held them back for 20 years.
Yeah, I mentioned some guys that came to mind for me as a Royals fan. I think about former top pick Luke Hochaver carved out a bullpen role. Obviously, yeah. Wade Davis, who they acquired in a trade. Andrew Miller, right? I mean, a shutdown guy at North Carolina for some of those really good teams back in the day, and then became, right after Wade Davis, that kind of ultimate bullpen weapon for Cleveland. So it's certainly not a path that's never been traveled before, and there's a lot to get to there, but we've taken enough of your time, Evan. I appreciate you running a little long on the new developments here in Husker baseball. I'll direct people to omaha.com and your Twitter page for more. But thanks as always for your time on this Wednesday, Evan. We'll talk again soon.
Sounds great, Austin. Thanks.
Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald with us on our Allo Fiber VIP line. That's where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local Heart. Royals coming up on the air at 5, Game 2 of the series against the Tigers. We'll go to break. You can hop on our streams or hop on our app for Hour 3 of Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Jordy Ball for Anderson Ford. For years, Anderson has relied on an exceptional customer experience. But just this once, they're going to rely on a really great pitch.
Right now, lease a 2026 Ford F-150 for $197 per month for 36 months.
Experience better at Anderson Ford.
Stock number 1008753. Allowing per month lease for 36 months with approved credit. 7,500 miles per year. 10,250 due at signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 4/30/26.
A membership with John Henry's will fast track you to front of the line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call John Henry's.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And Electrical.
When it comes to keeping your equipment running, you've got options at Landmark Implement. Whether you need premium John Deere parts or a more economical solution, A&I parts from Landmark deliver the dependable performance you can count on with cost savings up to 40%. From filters and bearings to belts and everyday repairs, A&I parts are built to work as hard as you do while helping stretch your budget further. Stop by your local Landmark Implement parts counter today or shop online anytime at shop.deere.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, we'll see probably sunny skies. It'll be breezy with a high near 77. Tonight, mainly clear skies, a light breeze, the low around 47. Tomorrow, we'll see lots of sunshine. It'll be breezy and warm, a high near 85. I'm meteorologist Kyle Husker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And wow, what a great spring it has been here. We've had record sales happening at Koppel. And to show our appreciation, Koppel is giving out employee pricing on select new models. Yes, you heard that right. Employee pricing is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. So please stop on in the store and see the team or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. Some rebates to dealer.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group. The best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Need an adventure? How about the bright lights of Vegas? The magic of Orlando? Or the sunshine of Orange County? Now you can reach them all with new flights from LNK on Breeze Airways. Stretch out, relax, and enjoy the flight. Your vacation starts the moment you board at LNK. Book today at LincolnAirport.com. LNK. Make flying easy.
The one and only Monster Jam. Big air, backflips, and all-out racing. See the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks. The fun begins at the pit party, where you can meet the drivers, get autographs, take pictures, and see the trucks up close. Get your pit party pass at monsterjam.com today. Must have valid event ticket to enter pit party. Restrictions may apply. Rules and activities are subject to change. Visit website for event details. Coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena May 2nd and 3rd.
At Suizo Construction, safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Build with us. Work safe, go home proud. We're hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back, on and off the job site. If you're ready to be part of a company where your safety and success come first, visit Schwizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com and apply today. Schwizo Construction, 40 years strong and still building the future.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Coy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. Your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Old School? Jay Foreman, Austin Orman on this beautiful hump day. We're bringing it to you live in effect, 1040 O Street, the number one sports radio station in all of Nebraska, located here in Lincoln. We are sponsored by and appreciate the support of Graham Tire of Lincoln. 4 locations in Lincoln. Can take care of all your tire needs, of course, and then obviously any car or truck need. Great customer service, great people, and obviously a great company. So we appreciate their support. Austin, my man, we're moving on. 2 hours goes by pretty quick. A lot going on, which is crazy when you think about, we'll start talking some football. Little spring we did with obviously Wisconsin debacle. Obviously Dylan talked up there in Oregon, a little bit about Nebraska, a little bit about himself. But what people seem to forget, and this is something where NFL always controls the news cycle, which they aren't right now, is that the NFL draft is coming up here very quickly here in, or not here, but in Pittsburgh, which is, as they've done a pretty cool idea, bringing it to different places. Obviously, it was, I think, of Green Bay last year, Pittsburgh this year. And then obviously here in Nebraska, everybody, all eyes are on where and when Emmett Johnson will get drafted, who else might get drafted, and where some of the other players that don't get drafted, where they end up. It's crazy where you think at just this time last year, Emmett was probably in the middle of spring football. Just, he went in the portal, came back, had to figure out some stuff, what he really wanted, Nebraska, what they saw his role at. Obviously, it was a smart decision. Parlayed that into All-American year. Really done well in the offseason as well, as far as like after the season. Getting a lot of, accolades and stuff, but staying focused and doing well in all the training and stuff. And the pro day. And now it's the waiting period. This is the hardest time for guys that potentially want to get drafted, could get drafted, or waiting for the draft to happen. So you can, if you get drafted, great. If you don't, you got to get, busy as the street free agent, because you spend, ever since the season ends, you spend all your time and energy worrying about the 40, the underwear Olympics. It's done after pro day. You'll do on some, you'll go on to some visits, pre-draft visits, and then you just wait.
Then you got to make sure that you don't end up in Buffalo or Green Bay.
Well,
That's what this next week is about.
You that's what I was thinking, which is always funny when you hear kids when they come on, I'm not going to go there, and I get it if you're, from the South and you want to go to college in the South, but, if you have that type of attitude that you can't perform or you're not going to go to a good situation based on weather, you'll never make it in the NFL. Never
once.
Because every division you'll play a cold weather team. Even when you look at the NFC West, Seattle gets cold, San Francisco does get cold, and whether it's the AFC West, you go into Kansas City and it does get cold there. In Denver as well.
NFC South, Charlotte. Closest
NFC
thing to
South, Charlotte will get a little brisk. It's more damp, but so it's different though. You're coming from Tampa Bay. Atlanta's indoors. So New Orleans is indoors,
Mm-hmm.
but you can catch a odd cold front there in Charlotte. For the last quarter of the season, it's drastically different than it would be all year. No matter
it's not
where
the
you come
AFC
from.
North, but
it still gets colder, and so for Emmett, it's just a hard time to sit and wait because you're good enough. There's he knows he's going to get drafted, which is great. Because you got to think he came here as a under the radar recruit, worked himself into a legit not high school, but college player to get drafted on the cusp of it. So it's a big deal for him. So the waiting is what sucks because you got to train. It's April 23rd, 24th, 25th. It's 3 days. So there's a lot more, waiting and then you're going to hear all the different stuff and it's crazy because it's up and down. Everything's, accessible online. You look at one kind of mock draft, see you going possibly late first round. You see one, you'll go second round. Then you'll see one, you go all the way to fifth round. And then you'll see one, you'll go in somewhere in between. So really, you just got to be patient, be realistic, and then obviously really be smart about it. Know what teams need running backs. Obviously, you got to pay attention to free agency. And then obviously, you got to really be on the internet. And this is what your agent's job is to do. Be in constant communication, but then also read the tea leaves that are coming out of each franchise's camp. Like many, okay, this is what they like. This is who they've had before. This is who they lost. How much salary cap room they have. Because the team might really like you, want to draft you, but they don't have enough salary cap per that position group room to draft you.
Are teams ever influenced in the draft specifically by agents?
No.
Not even like having a better relationship with one agent. You have two similar prospects. We'll take the guy whose agent we like a little bit better.
Not often.
0.1.
Yeah, not
percent. Okay.
No, and that's where these agents be lying to kids or lying to players.
Mm-hmm.
Your agent cannot get you drafted higher. So you want to clip that, you go ahead, you can. And that's what you think. I know people think if I go with a high-powered agent, it's gonna. If
I get a Rappaport brother, if I get a Scott Boras,
he can. He's gonna negotiate hard for you, and he's gonna get you every single dollar. But it's not gonna get you drafted. Football's different than baseball.
Oh, March. Yeah, sorry, bad crossover.
But it is right though, because you got to also be careful of like big time agents because, and this is all the agents. I'm not hating on them or whatever, but unless you've been in it and you have to understand. First thing I would tell a kid is like an agent, they work for you, okay, and if they stop working for you, fire them.
You can find someone that will.
You'll find somebody that will. That's number one, and a lot of agents make you think that you work for them. Once they show you they are not willing to work for you and do what's best for you, you need to fire them. Period.
Is that a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, or is it a one strike policy? Because
I would have a one strike policy, but they'll get you once, and then your light always have to be on. You always have to have somebody checking him and checking what he's doing. Because they'll get the gap. They'll tell you what you want to hear and then get you off the phone. Once they start returning text messages and calls, fire them. You got to set the tone. Because these dudes...
Because they work for you.
They work for you. They're quick to get that 3%. They're quick to take the 10, 20, 15% off your marketing deals. Fire them. There's plenty of agents out there that if you're and then obviously an agent, can't get you picked up if you're a free agent, can't get you drafted higher. Now they can work harder for you. Now they might have, more, they could probably get the GM on the phone after one call. But if I'm an agent and I'm representing Emmett Johnson, I'm going to get a call back because they're interested in my client. They're not going to draft him two rounds before because of who I am. Now, what I've seen agents do in free agency, and this is where you got to be able to fire him here, is you got to really understand how your agent's working for you, because he will, and this is later down the road, throw you to the wolves knowing, do a team a favor, put you in a bad situation. No, I'm going to get you paid in the back end. So he's putting your career at jeopardy. Right. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now also some, like Drew Rosenhaus, there was a thing that where, teams made sure they didn't kind of screw players over because they know he had a big enough roster. He was going to hit him over the head later. So there is some credibility to bigger agents, but ultimately your agent's got to keep you informed, man. Your agent should be having essentially a pamphlet of every team, salary cap, coaches, how you would fit. And so you would know what teams are really interested in. And you should know probably from the visits, running back's a little different because it's by committee, generally in the NFL. And they generally don't draft running backs higher. This year might be a little different, right? And so you just gotta have a realistic. It's hard to wait, man. The 23rd is hard because kids naturally and people naturally, like when they give you say if they give you a second round to fourth round grade, you automatically think you're going second round. They give out over 150 first round grades throughout the year.
And Jay, remind people how many first round picks there are every year.
Oh, there's 32 teams.
32 of them.
They do it. They do that all the time. Oh, we got first round grade. No, you don't. No, there's some guys that there will be. And they give out a lot of second and third. So it's all about need and fit. And, does the correct amount of run go on a certain position to kind of keep the draft on track? One crazy trade, one kind of crazy draft pick, it'll throw the whole draft off. You'll see guys start to slip round after round because if there's a priority on a certain position, that's going to change the draft order from all the teams that potentially could have running backs as their number one or number two priority. It could go down to 3, especially if there's depth in the running back class, i.e. our boy Manungai at Chicago.
Yeah.
They got a NFL starter, which we said in the 7th round.
Yeah.
That's how deep the running back class was last year.
Yeah. Chiefs got a good year and a half or two out of Pacheco.
Right.
7th round.
Right. And if it wasn't for kind of bad timing and knick-knack injuries, he probably would have toed the pill a little bit better this year, along with better, offensive line play and the health overall for the Chiefs. He would have had a better year. So really for Emmett, it's just you just got to wait and look for him to go, anywhere 2nd, 3rd round. It'd be great if he goes 1st round, 2nd, 3rd round. It'd be great. He just got to get in a great situation where he can show his skills and get better and learn and be effective at the next level.
Yeah, and I would like to think that Emmett Johnson, it seems like a good kid, good head on his shoulders. And I say that being, 6 years older, 5 years older than him. So obviously I use the term kid loosely. Seems like a good dude, good head on his shoulders. And, certainly enjoyed his time in the limelight, it seemed, at Nebraska.
Oh, yeah,
but you also can't question the work. And I'd like to think that his circle was a big piece of that. And, that he's got enough people back home that can make sure he gets in with the right agent. I'm sure that it is simple to go with the first name that pops up to you. Oh, hey, I'm in on you early.
Yeah.
Let's build this relationship. Let's get in it together. Sometimes there's value in waiting, right? And I mean, I know it's not super common to switch agents, left and right, left and right every other year or so. But I also take from what you're saying, Jay, that there's not anything wrong, because it is ultimately all about finding the right fit. Someone that's going to work for you, that understands what it is you want to accomplish with your career and your brand. And just as an aside, it's kind of why I'm not so stringently anti-transfer portal. As long as you get to the right place for you eventually, I can live with it. But as we're talking about agents specifically that they're looking out for you, that have your back, that I don't say know their place. That sounds terrible, but remember that their job is to, promote the client, not themselves and their brand. I can only imagine how far that goes for especially a young player starting off their career.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was like, as far as Emmett being able to, he liked the limelight, excuse me, but he continued to work. He didn't really get out there this year except for the bye week, and he was smart and strategic about that. So that's the maturity that, he's shown, and he's kind of always been, like that. Then obviously he was able to take care of the in-season stardom that he garnered by his play. So there's nothing wrong with that. And so, as far as picking an agent, I think he's with Amir's agent, that kind of came in, and got, once he started to do well, and I'm sure he'll do a good job. So, look, I mean, Emmett's going to get drafted. He's going to play good, and then the agent's got to work for him. Now, sometimes agents have their own marketing company and all that. Sometimes you want to keep it separate. It's all business right now, though, when you think about it, because, this is only a small amount of time that you can make maximum money. So you got to maximize your opportunities. And, the biggest thing you got to do is get busy on the field. But more importantly, when it comes to business, once you leave the stadium, the business has to be in check. And you have to have a good agent. You got to make sure that the agent, whether you think like knows his place, but make sure that he's your agent. He's not your friend. It is business. You can't have a relationship with him. But your agent has to do more than get you paid. He's got to make sure that he's on top of all your benefits. He's got to explain to you the process of why you would take a deal or why you won't take a deal, because longevity is what the most important thing is. Look at Amir. I mean, I think he's 10, 11 years in the NFL, doesn't really play as a starter. He's a great locker room guy, really good on special teams, came in as a second-round pick, and he's extending his career, and I'm sure he'll get another shot this year. You want to play as long as you can. And if you're lucky enough to be on a championship winning team, you're lucky. But you're more than lucky to be able to play, over, the general average, which is 3 years. And so you want to try to triple that, or Amir's on the way to quadruple it.
And I'm waiting for the text that says, well, seems like having Rich Paul as an agent worked out really well for LeBron. We're not talking about that. That is the one-off of one-offs.
Yeah.
You're talking about, again, I hate to say, Joe Schmo going into the NFL draft, because if you're up for the NFL draft, NBA draft, whatever, you're a dude.
Yeah.
You're a guy. But like you said, the average career is 3 years. The average career is not LeBron. The average career is not Tom Brady. Right? So making sure you have that agent that can, squeeze every ounce of value out of whatever your career is going to be. You can be friendly with them. But like you said, it's not rare that you have someone that can be, straight up buddy with their agent, and clearly Rich Paul's been good at his job for LeBron, but that's just such a completely different
that's an easy
scenario.
job.
Yeah.
The hardest part is just making sure LeBron trusts you enough to be his agent. But Rich Paul does a good job, and LeBron does a really good job of, he works for LeBron. He does what's best for LeBron. He knows how to explain the salary cap and the ramifications of one move for his clients, that he's doing the best by them and for them. So, look, he had to earn his way up, and, representing LeBron gave him a lot of credibility. And I always say this, every big time agent started out with their first client. So don't be afraid to go with a smaller agency that's going to work hard for you. So right now it's at the point that, they should be talking 2 or 3 times a week about where he's at and all this other stuff. And obviously as you move along and the relationship hopefully stays solid, especially because you're going to have a lean time in your career. You might get cut, you might get hurt. That's where the agent makes his money. And being an agent for Emmett Johnson right now is easy. You're picking up the phone, you're returning a text. It's the communication is easy because he's a highly respected prospect. That's easy. Where he will earn his money is when or if Emmett hits a bump in the road. You have to work diligently with the same energy that you did when you were making money easily. You have to go earn it without no guarantee to get it, because these agents they're already saying, all right, you go 3rd round. This is what you'll get. This is what I get. All this other stuff. When you're at 0 and you got to make sure you pick up the phone and make calls and really lean on the relationships that you have and get him an opportunity to extend his career. That's where you make your money.
It's the get him an opportunity that I think is pretty instructive. So Dane Brugler from The Athletic did his week out, essentially days out draft. And he had Emmett Johnson as the only Husker being selected.
Yeah.
He graded 14 Huskers that he thought, were at least worthy of a free agent kind of spot. And so, being Emmett Johnson's agent is different than being, Deshaun Singleton's agent, kind of on the very fringes. It's different than being Sierra Wright's agent. It's different than being Rocco Spindler's agent, right? Deshaun McCullough, Javen Wright, guys that have a lot of the traits that NFL teams are looking for, but maybe didn't put it all together for whatever reason. Maybe were under the radar for whatever reason. Being Emmett Johnson's agent is a lot different than being Rocco Spindler's agent right now.
Yeah, it's a different dynamic, and you got to be very clear on, all the options, because those guys are potentially, could go to the UFL or they could go to Canada. And you also, I know everybody wants to go to the NFL, but your NFL career might not start for a year or two. The biggest thing you have to do is get in a situation to where you can get the most tape, especially if you're a street free agent as a rookie. And also your agent has to do a really good job of looking at the roster and the salary cap of the team that you could go to. John Bullock is a great example. You go to Tampa, they obviously had Levante David, a lot of money that they were paying him. He had another high-priced linebacker. They needed somebody for depth. He came in, won his spot on special teams. Rest is history. Same with Luke Gifford when he was at Tennessee originally. Now he's at San Francisco. He worked his way up there, or he's at Dallas. I think
Dallas for a while.
Dallas, but he worked his way onto the field, and then he went from there. And then when he went to Tennessee, he got placed in a good position to show that he's good enough. You get in the wrong situation, you could be a good player, but the numbers don't add up. I always tell people, when you get cut or released, it's generally not about the play on the field. It's generally about politics and money, and they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Politics is like, you like a really guy, you got a guy in there that, say, one scout really, is kind of pushing for. They blew a pick on a guy and they want to give him another year, see if he figures it out. Then you kind of a lame duck, and so you as an agent, you have to do a really good job of digging into the details and doing your homework. That's where they get paid. That's how they earn their money. And because right now, everybody's like hyped for the draft, the teams included. You're either calling the GM, assistant GM. You probably know some scouts. You're trying to get some intel. Those guys will get fired if they're not returning your calls. Because of say they slip and don't have a good evaluation on Emmett, and he goes to a division rival, and he just destroys them.
Runs for 700 yards as a rookie or something.
Right. Why didn't we draft him? Oh, I don't know. We didn't think he was that good. How?
Well,
did you talk to? Show me the communication with an agent. Show me your evaluation on him. And then they'll have friends somewhere else, and they'll look at their evaluation. If your evaluation is so off, and we didn't draft him, but he's so effective, the rest could be history. And so, right now, it's an easy part, and it's good that Emmett's up there, and hopefully one of the other Nebraska players are able to sneak in there as well. And because the more guys you get drafted, the more you can try to sell the pro Nebraska. But the biggest thing is you want guys drafted. More importantly, you want guys on opening day roster.
What would your reaction be if Nebraska only gets one guy drafted this year?
A little disappointed, I guess, but that's just kind of, we've had years, I think, where nobody got drafted, right?
How many guys will get drafted from Nebraska when the Huskers make the college football playoff?
Oh, you'd probably be up 4 or more. Because that's one class, though. So So you got to think, if you got 4 or more, that means you got some guys that are going to get drafted afterwards.
So you said 4 a class is about what you need to make the college football playoff?
You'd like to have that.
Shoot for 15 on a college football playoff team over the course of any 4 or 5 year stretch?
Yeah, you'd like to have at least 4 guys drafted. And that means you're having a lot of depth. That means you're developing. You're having some guys that probably are good enough to get drafted that don't. You probably got to, double that maybe on either in practice squad opening day rosters per year. That means you're really infiltrating and really spreading your players out through the league. So that's what you like. You'd like to average, 3 or more to get drafted. So, they're working towards that. Hopefully you don't get the 3 this year getting drafted until you get 1. That's going to be Emmett go first. Other guys can sneak up there, but they got to make the open day roster. So everybody's going to be pulling for Emmett, and he's came a long way, and what he does with it after this is probably the biggest thing. He's going to get a little bit of a bag here, getting drafted. Now he's got to perform and get the big bag.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, the first contract is great, but you've always mentioned the value of the second and third contracts.
Yeah.
And just how important that is and what it means to get to that stage.
Yeah, you got to get the opportunity. I mean, like for me, it was a really good year for linebackers, a lot of depth. If I had to do it all over again, maybe left a year early, I felt like I matured enough and played well enough my senior. I came back, because that's what I wanted to do. But when you think about that and you got these agents calling you your junior year, the first thing they better be able to tell you, what's the class of whatever position that you're in look like? And it's got to correlate to what people think about you at the next level. It's kind of like basketball. Like Price went through it. How many shooting, 2 or 3 combo guys that they have coming out now? Price is hurt. And then what about the next year? Because that's how the decision made, generally. Like Dante Moore is in a good spot. Either way, he's looked at, as a top 3 pick in each year.
Yeah.
But, but then when you get drafted, I was fortunate enough to go to a great organization like Buffalo, even though I didn't originally want to go there based on the weather, which was total stupidity, that they had a history of in the preseason when we had 4 games, they played their young guys a lot. So, number one, they develop you. They generally didn't go out and have a whole bunch of guys coming on taxi squad. If you weren't on the active day roster or opening day roster, they'd keep you if you're good enough on the practice squad. They want to develop you, promote you from within, which is great. More importantly, the tape allowed you to have a lot of tape for all, 31 other teams to see. And that helps you get picked up, right? And then once you go another place, you might be able to come back. I was fortunate enough to play a lot in the preseason, scratch my way onto the roster, and then was inactive for the first few games, played, primarily special teams for a few games after that. A little bit of injuries, and next thing you know, I'm, getting in there and, I don't come off the field for 7 years. And then late in my career, I got to go back to what I was before. Rotational player, special teams, and kind of like a veteran in the room. So it always comes back on how you handle it, and then you're able to extend your career. So, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. There's a lot of guys that come in at high draft choices. I saw this in Houston, literally every draft. Guys coming in, supplemental draft, we're picking guys, and they can't play dead. Then we bring up a.
But you had to have someone.
Yeah, but then we bring guys in that are like my man Terrence T-Time Martin, free agent from North Carolina State.
Not that T. Martin.
No, not that T. Martin. And he's a D lineman, ends up playing 4 or 5 years, beating out guys. It just happens like that. Jared DeLoach, who was a free agent, actually was originally with when they were called the Redskins. It came with Houston. It came to Houston because I think Charlie Castley must have knew about him. Played 6 or 7 years. Wasn't drafted. Under the radar. Played at Cal. Is a D-line consultant for a lot of what used to be the Pac-12 teams for a lot of the West Coast teams. So you just never know how your path to be. And as long as you get in a good organization, team that appreciates your skills, and agent that's not sleeping at the wheel, you'll be able to, set yourself up for a little bit later in life. So anyways, we'll take a quick break, come back. We'll continue along with that a little bit. And then also we'll talk a little bit of high school transfer portal.
Hey, these guys have agents too now.
Man, yo, Miller South is still doing work, and it's on X. So we'll talk about that coming off the break. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road.
93.7 The Ticket is Lincoln's home for Kansas City Royals baseball in 2026. Catch all the action as Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and a pitching rotation led by Cole Reagans try to lead the Royals back to the postseason. That's Kansas City Royals baseball all summer long. On the air in Lincoln at 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Hey everyone, this is Austin Orman from Old School with Foreman and Orman, live from 1040 O Street in the heart of downtown Lincoln, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. My favorite thing about downtown Lincoln has to be the year-round energy. Downtown Lincoln never stops. It's easy to get to, has everything you could need or want in dining, entertainment, and retail, and of course it has Lincoln's best sports talk, proudly located in downtown Lincoln on the corner of 11th and O.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Is your air conditioner ready for the hot weather ahead? Get it checked now before you really need it. Call Bryant now to schedule your spring air conditioning service check. No matter what brand equipment you have, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean, inspect, and test to make sure it's ready to cool efficiently when hot weather hits. Stay cool and comfortable with air conditioning services from Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111 to schedule your AC check. Bryant, whatever it takes.
At DWE Generations, having a plan matters, especially when it comes to protecting what's most important. They work with individuals, families, and business owners to help make smart financial decisions that support life today and set the foundation for generations. David Darlington, Russell Walton, and Cody Eiler bring decades of experience, and their dedicated team provides follow-through, answering questions, explaining next steps, and staying connected as life evolves. DWE Generations, a generational wealth planning firm. DWE Generations is a marketing name for individuals doing business as representatives of Northwestern Mutual. Visit generations.nm.com or call 402-483-7871 and ask for David, Russell, or Cody.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement. There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. Second segment, 5 o'clock hour. We are on the stream with the Gleam, like my man Marty Schottenheimer used to say before a game. Still a beautiful day out here on this hump day. Low winds. Might be time to throw on the grill again.
Hello.
Yeah. I had little shrimp tacos last night.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah. It came out. Yeah, it was on and popping. Bought me something off of Instagram where you go buy the shrimp and then you're able to it's like this little clipper thing. You take out all the bad stuff and you clip the thing off. Just comes off one. I thought I was one stop shop. right down the middle.
They got a tool for everything.
1999. I know. We need to come up with something, man. These dudes, they got everything up there, man. It's crazy.
Everything except the one thing that we're going to come up with. We'll get back to you on that.
We got to come up with something, man. So we got to put our minds together. But like we said before the break, there's news on X that Millard South is back at it again. Obviously, they got Trey Taylor, right, that came in, and Monte Ellis is coming in. And is he coming? He's probably coming in the summer, right?
Tay Ellis.
Yeah. So you got two big time recruits from Nebraska that are moving to Millard South after having record set of number of players going to Power 4 and Division 1 or even to play football in general. Now it came out from on X NE Next Nebraska that Millard South picks up a huge transfer huge transfer with former super 9th grade Lincoln. I guess that's some sort of ranking, right? Like super state 9th grader of all things. Lincoln East standout linebacker Colton Tucker, massive addition for that defense, and he's also a state champion at 215 over the winter as well. And
they really do have agents,
and they said there's more to come.
Of course, there's more to come. Of course, there's more to come.
Yeah. So look, everybody was mad last year.
Stay mad.
Yeah. Well, the Trey Taylor thing. That's there's different dynamics to that. Obviously, you definitely wasn't gonna go to West Side because you got Braylon Warren and stuff like that. So, Millard South became the place to be. They kind of every school recruits, but I think they just kind of were more out front with it up there. I'm talking about, or just everywhere. I don't want to say just up there, and. There's a couple other kids that from Lincoln that went up there. I know Ben Gesford's son is up there, and I think he's an 8th grader going into 9th. So there's guys that are looking to try to replicate what that 2026 class did, and go up there and kind of put themselves in a better position to go to play, college football.
It's just so funny thinking of the scrappy, plucky little underdog, Omaha West Side.
Yeah,
scrappy, plucky, grit, grind, underdog, Bellevue West.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how it feels, kind of how it looks right now with Millard South. Yeah. And I'm on record as saying I don't and I can't begrudge a single family, a single player for making that move. If they think it's in their best interest, more power to it.
Yeah.
Do I love it? No. Is it my life? Is it my choice? It's absolutely not. Do I wish it would continue to happen? No, I don't. But I also don't want to punish Millard South for having something good going, no matter how real it is or not.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that what Millard South is doing is just a flash in a pan. Maybe it's legal and above board. Maybe there's some gray area.
Everybody does it.
Right. Especially
Omaha does it a little bit better.
Right. And so I don't want to vilify Millard South for being the it school right now. Does it look pretty? Does it look great? No. Is this happening across the country at other schools, not just Millard West? Millard South?
Yeah.
Of course it is, right? It just feels like such a big deal when Millard South adds another one because it feels like college, feels like transfer portal. And I know it's always happened, but it's making waves now in Nebraska. This isn't a new phenomenon across the country. It might have just finally reached Nebraska over the last few years. This has been going on for forever.
Coaches in Lincoln recruit. At least I know in basketball they do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of them lie to you, though. They recruit. And we'll get into that. I'll be...
Take it after dark? Or...
Yeah, I got some stuff cooking.
All right.
But, like for this young man, Colton Tucker... Now, they say there's different dynamics to it. Obviously, he's a wrestling champion, right? And so he's 6 foot, 225 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
He's a linebacker. Him and Manning in the middle are good together or work very good. We called the games. Them two dudes are active. I'm going to get my hands on Manning this year, and he's finally healthy. And his partner in crime has decided to go to Millard South. I guess the rumor or the part to it that people don't understand is that supposedly Lincoln East wanted him to play defensive line. He's a linebacker. That's what he is.
Mm-hmm.
Every day that ends in Y. So that maybe probably was the excuse to look for another place and probably a better place to go. And let's face it, Miller South is, if they just took what they had without getting transfers, including Trey Taylor, it would have been tough sledding for them this year. So they're able to go out there and get on the waiver wire and get guys to come in. Westside probably got some kids going in there as well. Other schools got other kids coming in. It is what it is. We got, when you look at this post on X, this Scott Jones, his name is on there, so it's not like I need to hide it. So this is another great example of kids wanting the exposure of programs that want to win. Emphasis on that.
Mm.
The general Omaha area are those schools. Look at the playing fields, the courts, the weight rooms, etc. Then look at LPS unwilling to put the funds into those. LPS athletics are so far behind the curve, and he tagged them on this post. And so it's just a different. I think here's the thing. I think when you look at like certain like Kearney, Grand Island back in the day, you can do it. You can even look at like Norris right now, Waverly and Bennington up there. But I was just thinking about when you think about west of Lincoln, they have an advantage of there's only one school to go to. You know what I mean? Like Kearney, you can go to Kearney.
Maybe two.
Kearney Catholic is really good too.
If you get to Grand Island, you have 3 options.
Right, but back when I was coming in, like Grand Island, that was it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had everybody there, and so that's what their advantage is, right? But that forces those schools and those communities, they're 100% all in because there's nowhere to go. We got to dive in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
part of the beauty of high school sports,
right? And we're here to win, right? It's kind of like old school.
Oh,
like
yeah,
there is.
Yeah,
this is it. You got to where you domicile. That's where you got to play.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Lincoln, right? So we're gonna skip over Lincoln and we'll save it for last. So then once you leave Lincoln and start going up 80, and it's just right there in Ashland and all the way up through Bennington, the atmosphere is totally different, and it's the new age. We're gonna train. We're gonna put it in. We're gonna win. We're gonna get good. We're gonna get the best coaches we can. We're gonna develop. We're gonna build programs. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then in Lincoln, it's like, I think it expanded, obviously when you had new schools. I mean, I think when I was here in college, I know there was Southeast, East, Lincoln High. Now you have Southwest, you have Standing Bear, North's always been around. Now you got Northwest, and you obviously Pius was here as well.
North Star's newer.
North Star, and Pius was one of the originals. So you had 4, and now you got 8. So that expanded everything. So if you had a football school around here, now there's, you could just play at North Star. You got Tyrell Chapman, the kid that played for me in basketball. He's at Penn State now.
Mm-hmm.
You had the big lineman from the year before. He's out there playing somewhere. And they got other, you had Mikey up there. He's going to play. They had some other guys go other places. They got a really good kind of like a defensive back, wing back, or whatever he is this year. His last name is Allen. He's going to be going somewhere as well. So you got plenty of guys spread out through the city. The atmosphere is just a little bit different. And that's just kind of, what LPS, where they're at. And it works, and, it works for them. But when you get on the field and you have the situation like you had with Lincoln High, last couple of years, it's drastically different. And so you got to find a way to kind of keep what you want to do, but you're going to have to expand it in some way, in some form or fashion. Another example is this. I know for a fact, if I wanted to go train kids in Omaha, I could call a coach right now and get on the field. If I want to train kids in Lincoln in a high school place, I can't, and there's not enough facilities. Now, Omaha's bigger. You got Elkhorn, you got Millard, you got Bennington now. You got way more options, so that I am aware of that. So it's a little bit different when you think about that, is like the major differences. But, kids are trying to go up there to get, exposure. The scholarships now for high school kids are very competitive. So that's also in it as well. So in order to get to a college, it's not just Division I, Power 4. It could be FCS. It could be a little bit lower level Division I. There's 36 Division I teams, and I don't know how many are in Division II, and they give scholarships. And there's scholarships at NAIA level. You think about kids that might want to go to JUCO. Look at Iowa Western that parlays into. You got the young man that's going to Clemson now.
Yeah.
They are options, and you have to get on it early.
Well, especially now we've talked about the trickle down effect, right? As the biggest programs want to get older, they give out fewer high school offers, which means there are more guys that would be, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, Division I players that are now FCS players that then trickle down to D2, which trickle down to D3, down to NAIA, GPAC, JUCO, all that kind of thing, which lessens the opportunity, or certainly makes it harder, rarer for those high school kids.
Yeah,
to just slot right in like they used to.
It's super hard, and part of the stuff the thing I'm gonna get going is like I'm gonna try to, from my experience, and I'm lucky enough to have personal experience. I have my dad's experience, which is really unique because obviously he was a potential Hall of Fame football player, but he was a Division I athlete in 2 other sports. You know what I mean, as well. And he went through it. Now I go through it, like coaching and stuff, and then obviously sees football from a different angle. That's why people are making moves. Like these kids want to go to college, and it's what $50,000-$60,000 a year. You do that for 5 years. Some people do 6. That's $300,000 investment on a small end when you go to a big time school. And who knows how much NIL money that you can get. So the investment that you're getting into your kid has to become earlier. I still believe in multi-sport athlete kids, but once you make a decision, you have to make a decision because of, and I don't even know if it's fair, right? It's not even, I don't know if it's fair. It is fair, but it's not, because basketball wise, you saw where Alex Baugh and company, they won the state championship. And he even said it. I saw the twins in 8th grade. I've seen Dakari in 8th grade. I actually saw them play. He's doing what? I'm looking. My presence is felt. You see me, and I'm pretty sure he had Southwest, jacket on or whatever. What's in their mind?
Oh, there's the head coach.
That's where I'm going.
That's me.
He's actually here to watch me. He actually likes my skill set. He doesn't care that I'm at that time maybe 5'8". I'm 5'10". He knows that I'm going to grow. So you've seen it in small doses here, but the perception, which might not even be the reality of, is it's not set up for you to be successful, and it's not all about you or for you to reach your goals, right? So a coach might say, hey, you're playing for me. That's it, right? It don't matter what you want. So then that lets you know that they're not going to help you get to the next level, and they're not going to develop you to the next level. Whereas what they're saying about the Omaha schools, not only will you be exposed to a winning culture, they will develop you to get to the next level, and you will be ready. Nobody said about being an individual.
And guess what? That helps everybody.
It does.
I think so many times it's, well, here's the best player on our team. They have a chance to go to college, but they're just so much better than the rest of the team. We have to worry about everyone else.
Sure. And that is true.
But I think part of the deal is, ideally, that best player raises the standard.
Yeah.
And you see how that player is getting coached fairly.
Right.
Hard to improve, and you do that with everyone else. Here's the standard you have to reach. Here's the work that you have to reach. And hey, guess what? You get one person sent off to college. Hey, I can go. Yeah. I can stay here and get to where I want to go. It might not be quick, but it'll be worth it, because I saw someone that, when I was in 7th grade sitting in the bleachers, I saw this kid as a senior. Hey, look, he went to college. That can be me someday. And when all these kids just flock to one program, I think we miss out on some of that, as opposed to coaches actually taking the time and thinking beyond themselves and beyond just team by team by team, year by year by year. Hey, the more kids that we can put in college, the more kids that we can help achieve their dreams, the more looks we'll get from other kids that want to be here, the better our program's going to be. It doesn't have to be a selfish thing for the kid. It doesn't have to be a selfish thing for the coach. It's just so short-sighted to think that, not helping a player get recruited or holding them back for the good of everyone else on the team in any way helps anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think the lazy thinking is like, why do you get the transfer? Say you live in one part of town to another football school, you should play on a team where you live at. It used to be like that, right? But again, there was only four high schools here when that was like, the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it was where I grew up. Well, then I would ask you, if say one school has like a musical arts program that's Okay, so like I think Lincoln Southwest has a really good cheer squad.
Okay.
I think they do because we've seen them when we call games. I think they are really good. Or I know Miller North does for sure, right? Because we saw them at the state tournament.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you live in Miller West District and you want to go to college via cheer, so you're going to stay there? It would be no problem, right? Or if and it's not law, but say somebody had some sort of science program or pre-engineering program or whatever it was, you go where you want. So I think, I think the days of a coach really being proud of how many guys he gets off to college are over, at least around here. I think, and this is not everyone, but in every sport, it's not as big a deal. It's kind of like part of the deal. Let's get it over with. I know I got so many kids. These coaches they don't stress about how many guys that they're going to have out for basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I saw Mike Grant build our program for my senior year. I think we had 48 kids out for football. Now he built it up and there's like 100 and something. They're dominant, right? But he still puts kids at the next level. You got kids on visits going to Miami and all this other stuff. Whether you're a freshman or not, but you're all coached the same. But they've been able to build up programs. We have middle school football. They don't have that around here. They have like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you're playing for the Junior Eagles and you're going to play whoever. They don't have that around. And there's not a problem with that. But in Omaha, they do.
Well, it's not that there's not a problem necessarily.
No,
it could be really good.
It could be really good, but like that's the thing. If that's what and I love Lincoln Youth Football. We're a partnership with them, so they do a great job down there. And I will tell you, the high school football coaches are down there more, and they made a presence, and they're down there. We've had them on air, so they're doing a really good job of being down there and being involved. So I don't have a problem with that because eventually your 9th grade coaches has got to be your first impression.
Yeah,
and from the coaches I know in Omaha and this is basketball wise versus here, in majority of coaches in Lincoln don't understand this. Their first experience in high school basketball is your freshman coach. That dude better be like your first assistant.
Shout out Mike Hawley.
Because that's going to set the tone. How they're coached, how they're treated, communication, how much you're involved. Because if you're not involved, these kids are very perceptive. I've coached all these kids. I know I had to learn it. The days of run across the street without asking why are over. The days of me dogging out Austin unjustly, then try to coach Johnny these kids know who's good or not. And so, if you're picking and choosing, or it's personal, you might have like a couple years. It will bottom out.
Yeah.
Because these kids all know each other. These kids talk. So we're going to take a quick break, come back. We'll be able to expand on that more tomorrow because there will be more in the portal. We'll probably spend a little bit.
The high school portal.
We'll spend an hour on it and stuff because I think it's interesting and I think it's helpful as well. We'll talk about some of the ideas I have going forward. Interesting NFL story we can get back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, we'll be right back.
Seems like just the other day I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching.
With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines. Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you're a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is Grant Wister. I played at Nebraska, and after football, I wanted to build something in Nebraska that I was genuinely proud of. Champ Roofing is that. We built the whole company around one idea: do the job right and treat people well. Roof replacements, inspections, gutters, siding, whatever you need, our team is going to show up, communicate with you, and handle it with real care. Nebraska homeowners deserve that. Visit us at champ-roofing.com or call 402-858-7449.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And electrical.
John just tried Runza's new Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger with its sweet heat bacon jam, pepper jack cheese, bacon, and cream cheese.
Whoa, this burger's like totally
What?
You know, boom, 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 boom.
Not sure I'm getting it.
It's totally jammin'?
Ah, I see. Well, don't jam with your mouth full. Try the Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, we're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. Quick segment here before we turn it over to Ticket Weeknights on this Thursday. But the interesting story, I forget, it was out of Atlanta. I think the guy's name, his last name is Davis. Him and his partner, or business partner, impersonated Michael Penix Jr. and other NFL players, primarily for the Falcons, to the tune of They somehow got their information, made fake IDs, had wigs on and in makeup, and went in and got I think 13 or more loans to the tune of almost $20 million. Yeah.
That guy at Houston Alumni Weekend is taking notes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he got in there. I mean, these dudes, but he got caught, and him and his partner are going to prison. I would think after you got, say, 10 million, wouldn't you probably be down in Mexico somewhere?
Like, let's not push our luck. We got more than we bargained for. We're set.
We went and got these. You know, we got 8 loans. We got about 15 million cash. The only thing
that's just Gallivant.
Yeah, but you probably stayed around Atlanta, hanging out. Hey, look at me. I'm Michael Penix Jr. No, you're not. Yeah, so it's an interesting story. So make sure
those lemon pepper wings keep anyone home, right?
Right. Yeah. Magic City Mondays is not for you no more. Now you're going to be up there getting 3 square meals a day in the weight room. So that's an interesting story. Obviously, I'm glad they got caught in that stuff that we talked about as far as that's the type of stuff that can affect you on the field.
Oh yeah.
And because these banks don't care until you have to prove without a doubt that somebody stole money from you. So
yeah.
Anyways, quick story. Tomorrow, big high school portal. Hopefully we got some Husker news as well on the basketball end.
We'll see. Nothing official yet, but certainly some stuff in the hopper. So hey, we'll talk a lot about it tomorrow.
I know at Lincoln Airport's got some stuff with an American Airlines. You know you can get to Detroit and Chicago. Jay Foreman at Austin Orbit, South Side of Chicago. Heck, you can go to Minneapolis North. I got people on deck from Hopkins and Eden Prairie. Power 4 guys ready. Holla at a player when you see me in the street. Austin Norman, Jay Foreman, old school. We are out.